Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV's podcast 156. I'm your host, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, along with Johnny V.
How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I'm doing great.
Good. Doing real
You
well.
should really mute what you got going on there.
Is that me that's making noises here in the background? Well, I'll just hit a bunch of the wrong buttons and it won't work. But it sounds like I got it under control.
No, you don't.
Back here on track, we've got lots of things going on tonight. Super excited about our show. Not only are we going to have Dynamite, who's pretty much a regular, but we're also going to have another visit by none other than Paul Ulibarri. I believe a champion, Paul Ulibarri, a recently crowned champion.
He might be a winner.
He might be a winner. He's a winner for being here. So glad to have Uli back more regular.
Have you noticed how well he's been playing
the Smashbox bump
since he's rejoined the show?
Yes. And maybe he keeps rejoining the show because then
he knows it's almost like you know you're bouncing a volleyball. We're keeping it up. We're keeping it up for him, keeping that momentum going.
Bump set spike or something like that. I think I'm not diverse with
your sports
my sports prowess and knowledge.
You're not.
Okay, I'm really not.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have a thought you want to complete there?
No,
you're waiting for me. Okay.
No, I was starting to hear a little bit of audio coming back from one or two things, and it I was trying to place where it was coming from, but I think I got it. So
okay.
Yeah, I mean and plus we've got our featured guest tonight, Matt Krueger from UDisc, and they're going to show us some really cool new features that they're rolling out. Matt is, and we even have we've got some UDisc giveaway.
We do.
And we've got multiple UDisc giveaways.
Oh, my gosh. They just keep giving.
They do.
They give to the Pro Tour. They give to disc golf.
Giving.
They give just so much. And here they are giving to us tonight.
They are. They are.
That's pretty exciting. Well, I think we can get right to Dynamite. We're going to be able to talk about things like Pro World, some A-tiers, some other things going on around the country. And after him, we'll go to Matt Krueger from UDisc, as Johnny just mentioned. And then a little later on the show, we're going to have Paul Ulibarri joining us and see what's going on with him. And we'll probably talk picks and a few other things. So that's how it's going to unfold. As always, we are paying attention to the YouTube chat. Once I pull it up on my screen, at least, we pay attention to the YouTube chat taking place on youtube.com/SmashBoxxTV/live. If you'd like to participate or interject, that's the best place for us to see it. Occasionally, we'll check in on Twitch, on the one or two of you that are out on Twitch, and we'll also occasionally check in out on Facebook. But the best place to interact with us, ask a question, or get something across, or get banned, or possibly get banned, you could do that all on the YouTube chat. That's where we pay most attention. So let's get right to it. Our favorite guy from Illinois, outside the Cubs, outside Dan Harback. Yeah, okay, Dana Vicich.
Boom goes the dynamite.
Dana, hold on 1 second. I just noticed
that's not Dana.
That's not Dana. Hold on one second.
Get a shot set up. All right.
I do. No, there's just the Skype.
If we only had Zach Morris to call a timeout.
Call a timeout. There he is. Here he comes to save the day.
So smooth. Got it.
Timeout.
There it is. All right. Welcome, Dynamite. How you doing, buddy?
Good. Doing good. How you guys doing tonight?
We're hanging in there. We are rocking. We are rolling. We got a bunch of we're doing it all, Terry. We're rocking and rolling. We've got events going on right now. Rarely ever are we on a podcast at home when there's an event going on a Tuesday night.
That's very true.
Usually,
very true.
I was thinking about that today. Usually, if there's an event going on Tuesday, it's probably Worlds, and we're probably there. But we got some Pro Masters Worlds that's going on right now.
1 day's down.
Yeah. While we're on the subject, might as well talk about it. 2017 PGA Pro Masters World Championships presented by Innova up north in Grand Rapids. Pretty fun little town from what I'm told, Beer City. A lot of different breweries. But competition started today. The Masters division played one round today. It looks like tomorrow they're going to be set for 2 rounds, if my math is correct. But they're playing a lot of disc golf up there. 6 rounds, cut to the semis, and then there's a finals. So this is kind of the old school style for these old school players. And after round one from California, Robert Bainbridge, he shot a really solid round. He had 1 bogey. Shout out to Marty Gregoire for getting all the scores up there, so you could check him out. But he shot a 9 down, 53, which was 10-51. 2-throw lead over George Smith and Johnny McRae. And then from there, we've got a whole slew of golfers within a few strokes. Cam Todd, Mike Mosier, Chad Yeats, Barry Schultz. And then Felberg is at 3 down. So Felberg, one of the favorites, I know from a lot of people, finds himself 6 off the lead, but basically 6 rounds to go. A lot of disc golf happening.
I think it's fair to say that after 1 round, and granted we'll talk a little bit more specifically about the course shortly, but after 1 round and plenty of golf to play, it's kind of surprising to see Dave Felberg, did you say 6 off the lead?
Yes.
That is a very fair statement to say that is surprising, because rarely is Felberg 6 off of any lead at any tournament these days, let alone one here in the Masters division. And again, I think that's going to lend to the conversation about the course specifically, but very odd to see. And I've got no doubt we're going to likely see Dave in the Final Four when it's all said and done. Okay, that's fine. You can be wrong again. I think Dave's going to be at least in the Final Four. I'm not picking him to win it, but he'll be in the Final Four, and so I know there's plenty of time. But again, 6 strokes off the lead after round 1. That's kind of surprising. Dana, are you familiar at all with the course?
The course they played today, I think, was a private course, very tight, nasty in a few spots. It looked like some thick rough from what I gathered. But no, I have not played this course. Just caught a few updates online from a few people posting on social media.
Okay.
So can't really provide any insight. But I heard Fallsburg is a pretty good course. I think some divisions are at Bluegill, which is another private course. It's supposed to be tremendous.
Well, what I can say is I had heard this coming into it that, as you said, it's private. I believe the owner is Mark LaFleur. I'm going to cheat a little bit. Mark LaFleur is his name. And one of the requirements, and I don't know how strict this plays out, if it's every single day or there's got to be exceptions, I'm sure. But one of the requirements is, that you're a 4-digit PDGA member, which is a very interesting requirement. So definitely kind of a nod to the old school disc golfers. Anyone that signed up likely before sometime around 95, 96-ish, which is right when I signed up, and I just missed that 4-digit number. So that's really interesting, and I think I overheard Barry Schultz talking about it when I was briefly in Grand Rapids on Saturday, and he had said, I thought I heard him saying that the fairways are there, they're tight, they're fair fairways, but you have to stay on them. And I think that's exactly what you were saying, is the second you get off of the fairway, I think you are severely punished from what I've gathered. And again, not playing there, not being there myself, that's what I had heard. So to see some anomalies in the scores maybe, or see a big shift in scores, maybe not too surprising on a very tight and punishing course.
Definitely. And again, it's 1 round, first round of the tournament, and as a lot of these guys know, it's a marathon. It's not the 4-round World last month in Augusta. So a lot of time to make moves, and while I'm sure Felberg would rather be a few strokes better, he's got plenty of time to make some moves. But I don't know. Post injury and I guess not post because he's doing it right now, but next generation. I think a lot of these things are really pulling Dave away from his time on the course, and age is catching up with him as his rating is dipped down to 10-14, which has got to be the lowest it's been in quite some time. So home state of Michigan, he's wanting to make a move, as we said last week. It's gonna be fun watching the scores come in as the week goes on, and yeah, I'm interested to see how long Robert Bainbridge can hang on at the top. We've seen his name out in California at a few big events over the past few years. I'm trying to remember if he's won the Masters Cup, but he definitely is a player out there, and has had some really good finishes at some big events. So we shall see.
I think by the end of round 2,
Masters women's division.
I was gonna say, I think by the end of round 2, you're gonna see George Smith or Johnny McRae in the lead. I don't think Robert's gonna hold on for another round. It's possible, but I'm gonna give it to the guys who've got a little bit more experience right now, a little bit higher rating, no doubt. And like I said, I'm not gonna go on a limb when I say I don't, just because of the things Dana was saying. I don't think Fehlberg is going to make the top 4, not this year. Just based on the lack of play, the recovering from the injury, this and that, his focus in other areas, I don't think he's making top 4 this year.
Dana, how do you feel about that? Do you see Dave Fehlberg specifically in the top 4 by the end of the week?
I don't.
Okay.
But then again, I also didn't pick him and McRae to win the Masters doubles. I know you're waiting to throw it out there, so I'll put it out there already. I think I saw a Disc Golf Nerd chirping about it on the board already. But, yeah, I didn't pick because I didn't want him to win. So, and even though they're clearly the favorites. Did you go up and film that?
I did. Terry? I did, and I'm super excited. The first round of 2 is I can't say fully edited. The front 9 is fully edited, rendered out, ready to go. I could just hit upload on it, but I want to get through on the back 9 of that front round, the first round that they played. But I filmed the first round where they played a modified best shot, and then the second round they played modified alternate shot. Let me real quickly explain that, so this hopefully helps when you do get to viewing it, even though I said it at the beginning of each video. Modified best shot, and this has been I believe this was introduced in 2007. I know I played it with my buddy Mike Krueger. Modified best shot means you cannot take the same player's drive 3 holes in a row. So if Dana and I are partners and Dana parks hole 1 and we take it, and Dana parks hole 2 and we take it, on hole 3, no matter what, we must take my drive, whether that's out of bounds or parked or wherever, hits the first tree available, we have to take my drive in a modified best shot scenario. And then that continues to rotate through. So if on the 3rd and 4th hole we take my shot, we have to take his by the 6th hole, whatever. So that's how modified. And then modified alternate shot, a lot of times in an alternate shot event, you start with 1 player. You get to choose on your team. You start with 1 player, and then you literally rotate every single shot. You alternate every single shot regardless of what happens. No player ever throws 2 shots in a row. In modified alternate shot, basically the players got to choose which person teed on the first hole, and so for all of those holes, every other hole from there on out, they teed, and then on the opposing holes, that's when their partner teed. So, and then you play alternate shot from there. So, again, you would never always have a distinct advantage, or could you work it in any particular certain way? You know, Johnny McRae, for instance, threw 9 tee shots, and Dave Fehlberg threw 9 tee shots during that alternate shot round. So I just want to throw it out there for when you guys do consume it in the next few days. Sometimes that's a little bit to try and explain in an introduction to a video blog, but that's how it worked. So I was there, and Dana, you were right. They were definitely a clear favorite due to the powerhouse team that they were, and they almost only doubled up on second place in terms of amount under par. So I can see you were second guessing their skills.
Yeah. Well, moving on from that. I was wanting to talk about the Masters women, but I think I lost my link. I know Des has the earliest lead. They played 2 rounds today. I'm guessing they only are going to have 1 tomorrow. But Des out to an early couple throw lead over Elaine King. So that's going to be an exciting race to watch between those two. And then we'll see if Leslie Todd or Courtney McCoy can stay up there with them. But Des is at 4 down, Elaine 2 down, and Leslie Todd at 2 down, with Courtney McCoy at even. In the Grandmasters division, Greg Hosfeld shooting some pretty high golf over Jim Oates. Haas went 10-20, 1,002. He's at 18 under par, and looks like they're playing 1 round tomorrow at Black Falcon. 3rd place right now is Tim Keith with Ron Converse. Looks like there's still some players within 5-6 throws of the lead that could definitely make a move. Brad Hammock, Joe Mela, Dean Tannick, all previous world champions in either Masters or Grandmasters in the past. And then Grandmaster Women, Sue Stevens is winning. Kenny Boorad Lee is in the lead in Senior Grandmasters with some really good golf, 1,005, 1,038. But he's only got a 3-throw lead over Johnny Sias. So, and Randy Beers is also tied as well. And they've got Greenwell and Rick Vokes right on their tails there. So, again, quite a bit of golf to go for them. On now, I'm sure you guys are following along on PDGAlive.com during the week for live scoring and scoring updates. Media Marty and crew are doing their best to keep us updated.
Yeah, by all means, make sure you guys go out and check that out. If you go to the PDGA.com, right on there'll be a link right on the front page. That'll be a quick way to find it. And I'm guessing probably PDGA.com/2017 Masters or Pro Masters, I should look, will be a link. But if you just go out to the front page, it'll be everything that's on the front page that you need to know about. Should be all available right there. 2017 Masters Worlds. So PDGA.com/2017 Masters Worlds. And you said the battle taking place. We see Des Redding in the lead right now. I also thought it was worth noting that after their 1 round today, when I had checked in on scores earlier, Leslie Todd had actually jumped out. It was just a 1-stroke advantage, but Leslie had the hot round in the morning, and we see her playing some really good golf when she's been out there. Her taking down at Red, White, and Boom, picking up a win also in the last couple of weeks, and I know she's excited to be there. So seeing some of the, not by age, I was going to say the legends. They're not legends by age, but some of our legend women competitors out there, some of the greatest to ever play. It's awesome watching them battle. And I know Courtney, I almost called her by her maiden name, Courtney McCoy is had a good weekend as well, playing the mixed doubles along with Barry Schultz. So I know she's excited to be out there playing, and I was there when she got to call home and have a conversation with her children and Kevin, and after her performance at the mixed doubles. So best of luck to all of the women battling it out there in the Pro Masters women's division.
Yeah. Move to this previous weekend over in Indiana, the 28th Checkered Flag Open. I got to give a shout out to Coleman, who came out and destroyed the field round 1. He popped off a 1050 rated round. I think the next best was a 58. So he had a 5-throw lead going into round 2. He hung on to win by 4. 38-person open division. Had a couple big names in there, like Greg Barsby finishing 5th, Tyler Horn tied for 5th, Brad Schick finished in 3rd, Jeremy Harvey in 2nd. So shout out to Paul. He's been playing some good disc golf this last month since he's got back on tour, so to speak. He went up to Majestic, played well, came down to Illinois, won on beat. Keep that rolling this weekend down in Kentucky. at the Idlewild Open here in Illinois. Got to give a quick shout out to Tom Earhart, brother of the lefty Brian Earhart. Tom smashed at the throwdown at Rolling Knolls, course that I designed. I tried to sign up for the tournament, but it was already filled. Whoops. But Thomas ended up getting first place with Gavin Rathbun in second, Al in third, and then our Ledgestone TD, Nate Heinold, finished in fourth place. He also plays disc golf. So just wanted to give a quick shout out to Tom. He destroyed the course I designed round one, shooting like a 13 or 14 under. So way too easy.
Soft. Was the course soft?
So I should have brought Heinold in to tighten things up for me. Then we were talking about Canada last week. So I saw there was another Canada event this last weekend up in Quebec. And Dylan came up from New York and won, and Dario Ree from wherever he's living. It says Spokane, but he was out there and finished in second place. Shout out to Smashy Chris Young, friend of the show. He finished in second. But that was up in Quebec. They do play disc golf up there.
And to follow that up, Dana, we had a few of our Smashies reach out and talk a little bit about how we could spread the love around, maybe get a little more interaction, maybe even have almost maybe like a correspondence or a check-in every once in a while for more things going on north of our border here, which I think would be great. Have a segment, maybe once a month or every few weeks or whatever it is. Someone like yourself, but maybe knows a little bit more about what's going on locally in that little country, that little area of Canada.
Yeah.
Now, Dana, did you play in an event? I was going to start looking for some results. I forget. I honestly, and I'm not even like this. I spoke to you Friday night. I think I was actually an hour or two ahead of you, and we didn't even fully realize it as I was driving to Grand Rapids to cover the next day's action, and you were driving also up I-94 to get into Michigan as well, and you were going to go play in a tournament. Give us the details here. I honestly, I have no idea. You and I have not spoke about it. I did not research it on the internets. Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah, I went up to Shore Acres Open. It was a B tier event, and DG Mike went up there. We met up with another friend from Illinois, but fun little course, very unique, kind of on some sand dunes. I don't know if they're sand dunes officially, but sandy. There's all kinds of unique features on this course, but I played really bad both rounds. I actually had the course isn't very easy, and I had 2 4s on the day on 36 holes, 4 2s, and the rest pars or 3s. There were a few par 4s sprinkled in, but pretty lackluster day. He didn't have anything going. We actually played together second round, and he beat me by 1 throw. So shout out to Mike for kicking my ass.
Yeah, I see that. Yeah, you averaged somewhere around 9, looks like to be about 955 golf, which is about 30 points below your rating.
Is that better than my Wi-Fi rating if you were to give my internet?
No, because everyone is actually somehow more frustrated than even I am right now, as your Wi-Fi continues to be horrid, and we're going to be cutting you short here as a result, because politely saying this is miserable, hearing only so many words from you.
I might.
Well, we don't have to cut you this instant, but it's going to be sooner than later. I'll tell you that. Okay, so
but I'm fine. You guys can't handle me and my faults.
I love you, Dana.
You were good until until you admitted you shot 955, and then you were good until we learned that. Then,
hey, I'd be happy with a 955 rated round these days, the way I've been playing. So.
No, seriously, we need to get you hardwired or a new router or new internet or Comcast or something like that. You've been usually pretty solid, but tonight and lately you've had your struggles. So we'll have to see what we can do to get you up to speed, literally. All right, buddy. I'll see you in like a couple days. Kentucky,
all right,
maybe tomorrow night even.
See you in a couple of days, but real quick, pick to win Idlewild Open. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't freeze. I think Paul Macbeth's going to win. And I'll see you guys in a few days. Peace.
All right, buddy.
All right, Dana. We love you.
We'll get to UDisc, who's bragging they have 250 megabits per second.
We'll see.
I don't think you should have told us that ahead of time, UDisc, Mr. Matt. That might not have been your best move. Again, thanks to Dana. Thank you guys for being patient with us and with Dana, as that wasn't coming in as crystal clear as we usually have pretty good luck with him. And something lately, whether it's a Skype connection or his internet at his house, it's definitely not on our end this time, so we can pass the buck. But
yeah, I don't know.
We do appreciate Dana doing some research and finding out what's going on around, especially at the Pro Masters Worlds. I know I'm going to be keeping track of it and keeping tabs on it throughout the week. Robert Bainbridge, again, in first. George Smith, Johnny McRae tied for second, and Cam Todd sitting in fourth. So some people on the board saying Barry Schultz is likely going to make a move. I totally would agree with that. He probably will be. Shasta Chris is one that you certainly should be looking out for. And Patrick Brown, who did not have the greatest day, shot himself an even in 975. So
yeah, I mean, with as many rounds as there are, it's going to be real easy for those guys to come back.
Yep.
And I could see Patrick Brown making top 5. Like I said, I think you're going to see Johnny McRae, Barry Schultz, and then we'll go with 2 wild cards, maybe a Cam Todd.
Mike Mosier.
Could be a Mike Mosier. I just don't think you're going to see Felberg make the move this year.
All right, Dave Wastebloom, I'm pulling for you, buddy. Have a great week out there. I miss you. All right. So with that, I think we can move on to a solid internet connection. Mr. UDisc himself. Hey, Matt, how are we doing tonight, buddy?
Pretty well. How about you guys?
Wonderful. See, it's not us. The Skype connection works great with Matt. It's clearly something on Dana's side. We're going to have to look at getting him either hardwired in there. I don't know what model Mac he has, but hopefully it has an internet jack in it. And we'll get it figured out, I promise. So,
all right. Well, welcome, UDisc, who has single-handedly revolutionized how we view the little scores that pop up. And clearly last year when the Disc Golf Pro Tour had partnered up with you guys, and you guys were just so instrumental from day one, from our very first event. It's awesome to see it. And now you're talking about further developments. You recently made an announcement that you're getting Disc Golf rich, and you can do UDisc development full time. Tell us what's going on.
Man. Yeah, I wouldn't say Disc Golf rich. Yeah, so
real rich. That's even better.
I finally quit my job to do this full time. I'm taking a big pay cut to do it, but I'm doing it because I love this. Just like you guys, it's the same kind of thing. It's been a long time in the coming, and I think UDisc has been around about 6 years now. So I've been kind of pulling, 80-hour weeks for long enough.
Mm-hmm.
So it's time to do this full time and just try to focus on this and make it as good as we can.
So for anyone that's silly enough to not know or understand right now what UDisc already is or what you do, give everyone a quick overview of your app or the variations.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, it's not just an app anymore. I guess we have the Pro Tour stuff as well, so that's always something else to talk about. But so the main function, so it's an iOS and an Android app. The main function is to keep scores. It's really simple to use. The other stuff that we have in there relates to course directory, which we've grown over time to be about 7,000 courses or so. And then also the kind of cool thing that we have going right now is that we've had the ability for users to create maps for courses for a while now. And we're to the point where we have about 50,000 holes around the world mapped.
Wow.
So we've got, I don't remember the breakdown course-wise. I think it's about 70% of the world's courses we have maps for. And they're not just like, like a PDF that's printed. They're actually interactive maps where you can see, where your GPS dot is while you're walking around. So one of the reasons I'm here today is to show off kind of the new thing that we did with the maps, which I think is sort of cool.
Wow, I did not realize. I'm not good with the phone internet things, but I didn't realize that was an option. And I'm a course designer myself, so I don't get to play a lot of new courses. But if I get to design them or go out and visit properties, having a function built right into the app sounds like it would be awesome to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that every once in a while somebody will email me and say, "Hey, I'm designing a new course. How can I use this to map the course?" And it's I probably 50 or 100 times at this point I think people have used it to do that sort of thing. It's pretty functional for that kind of thing if you want to figure out how long your hole should be and like the the total course length, and try to get it on paper before you actually go and put baskets in the ground.
Yeah, well, I know I thought I was being ahead of the curve thanks to Chuck Kennedy and others when I went out and invested in like a $299 Garmin handheld GPS. And those were state of the art. I mean, that was a really big deal. And disc golf course designers, that was virtually unheard of. Very few people jumped on that, and now it's buried somewhere. I have no idea because obviously our phones with other apps have been doing so much more. So if somebody were to want to get your app, now there's a couple of variations in terms of paid versus free. Can you kind of break that down, what that means?
Yeah, sure. So first, let me state that we are about to simplify that whole thing. The reason that there's two different apps is kind of a historical reason. Before in-app purchases were a thing, was when the first version of UDisc was released, and then after they allowed you to do in-app purchases, which is a much better way to give people a chance to try out your app before they want to part with a few bucks, then we had to release a separate version to do that. So right now there's a free version of the app, which is what everybody should go out and download. Don't ever get UDisc Plus. That's kind of an old version that you don't really need to use anymore. Just get the free UDisc app, try it out. And from there, if you like it, you can buy a pro subscription, which will allow you to sync your scorecards to an account and share scorecards with friends automatically, which is kind of the killer feature there. So one person can keep score, and all of your other friends will end up getting the scorecard on their phone when they're done, so that they get the stats and they get all the historical averages and birdies and bogeys and all that kind of stuff. And as we get a little bit further into the year, we will be releasing the Pro Tour style Circle 1, Circle 2, Scramble, fairway hit type stuff. And that will be even nicer to be able to share with people once we get that done.
I think you should have the Super Pro version, which is you can share other people's scorecards that you don't even shoot. So I could share Paul McBeth's score. Yeah, this was mine. Just pull that right into my account. The Super Pro.
Well, I mean, we certainly want to make a way for people to follow individual pros or individual people's rounds eventually. That's definitely on the docket for the future. But as we go here, this has become quite a beast of an app. I think I looked recently, and if you were to print out all the code for UDisc, it would be like 2 800-page novels.
Wow.
It's to the point where it's a huge amount of code, and there's a lot of features in there. So with the version that we just released, it was actually a full year of time for Josh and I. So there's two of us. UDisc is just two guys. So we spent a full year rewriting the whole thing. Josh did iOS, and I did Android. And we're kind of to the point now where 70 or 80% of it was redone, and it's a lot faster, a lot crisper, a lot more modern. And from here, we can finally build the things that we've always wanted to build.
I know. I'm playing around with the app right now on my phone, and just some of the things, the little touches that I'm noticing. And maybe this is iPhone. I don't know if they do it.
You always notice little touches.
Or Android. I went into created a scorecard, and I was just looking at the different options. And one of the options is the PDGA rulebook, which is fantastic. And I started scrolling up and down, and I noticed there's the haptic feedback. So it's almost like I feel like I'm scrolling. Here, just run your thumb up and down.
Can I get little touches here?
Maybe you can get some little touches. So it feels like it's almost like a little dial you're turning. Do you feel that, Terry?
Is it supposed to vibrate? Is that what you're saying?
It does. Oh, you went into the wrong thing, Terry.
I was touching stuff.
Oh, there you go. Now run your up and down that.
Oh yeah,
see?
yeah. I see,
now for those of you at home, like I'm in one of I'm in the menu here, and I'm just putting my finger like I was gonna pick an option in the menu, and I'm getting a little kickback on it. And I like that because it's those little touches that I think that really go above and beyond and make this app probably, well, I'm not probably, the best scoring app that's out there.
Except for Tinder.
Certainly.
Hey-o!
Hey! Wow.
So I've heard. All right, can you show us what are some of the cool new things that are going on? So for our viewers that are watching, or do you have to describe it all?
No, I think I can share it. Let me
All right.
see what happens when I click on this magical button here.
Uh-oh. I've heard this before. All right.
see that?
Yes, we can.
Yep.
So explain to everyone what we're looking at that's listening on the podcast.
Yeah, so first of all, it looks like it's not quite showing the whole screen, so this could be a little challenging, but we'll be able to do it. So yeah, this is kind of the, we're going to need to see those tabs at the bottom. Are you guys overlaying that graphic on the bottom there?
Hold on 1 second. I can...
Let me get my graphics guy on that.
Oh, perfect. There you go.
There.
Yeah.
I had to zoom it out a little bit.
Perfect. Okay, so this is kind of the new home screen that you'll see when you start up. This is just going to list all of your recent rounds and the scores. You can scroll through them and look at, all the rounds that you played real easy. So I'm not going to show you everything because there's way too much to show, but I kind of want to just highlight where some of the old things that people are used to may have gone. It used to kind of start up the stats tab down here. This used to be where you'd see when you open the app. Now we've kind of moved it to a different tab just because we want to highlight your scorecards a little bit more. And as the new stats get layered in with the new scorecard later this year, you'll kind of see why we did this. So there's the old stats tab, and then kind of one of the cool new things here, we have this courses tab. So we've always had this find course page, which shows all the courses in the world on a map. But in addition to that, this is kind of the same as it always was. It's just a little bit more polished. We rewrote the whole thing. But in addition to that, we kind of have this list view now, which is a really powerful search that you can actually do offline. You don't need to have an internet connection to do any of this. So like, let's say that you were planning first of all, I'll just show you a search. So let's say we're going to look at Maple Hill. So you can go just search for a course, go click on it, check out.
What can you search by? Is it just course name, or is it city and state? Because if I don't know, let's say I might not know Maple Hill, but I know it's in Massachusetts.
Yep, exactly. So right now it's name or location for this part.
Awesome.
It will be more later, and there's something else kind of cool I'll show you in a second here. So actually, let's just show you that. So let's say that you're planning a trip. Let's say you're going to Kansas City. So let's say you want to do some research before you get there. So you can type in near, and once you type in near, just put anything in there, and it'll show you what's near that area. So let's say near Kansas City.
Wow.
So now it's going to tell me what's near Kansas City. I've got the 50-mile filter on right now, so this is going to show me what's within 50 miles of Kansas City. But even more than that, we can sort it by rating. So now we can say, okay, I want to go play the best 5 courses in Kansas City when I go there.
And where does that rating come from? Is that from other UDisc members?
Yep, it's from UDisc. We've been collecting ratings for a long time now. So like Waterworks here has 314 ratings. So there's we actually have a huge number of ratings. I'm not actually sure what the number is. I could check pretty quick.
That's fine.
But yeah, there's a lot. I'm on the wrong database. But anyway, we've been collecting ratings for a long time. So we've got a pretty good breadth of ratings. As you'd see if you know Kansas City, I think this is pretty accurate for within 50 miles. If I open it up even more, then you might see something a little bit different. Like, let's see, I think I can go to, let me change this. So like I'm in Minneapolis right now. If anybody's from here, sorted by rating, I think, Blue Ribbon Pines, Vision Quest, these are probably all places you've heard of around here. But even more, let's see, you guys got me a little bit distracted.
I know. Trust me. I have like 6 other questions I want or suggestions I want to throw at you. I'm like, can I sort by number of holes? Can I sort by like average score on that particular course? So if I know, oh look, this is an average. Most people score 52 on this course. I know it's probably an easier course, otherwise, as opposed to like 65. There's so many options I think of that could help out with your customer base and being able to find courses. And this is just one particular. This isn't even the main UDisc. This is like a side thing for you guys, like the course directory, and the main feature of UDisc is keeping track of your scores.
Right. Yeah, but the course directory is where it all started. That's kind of the first thing that I did. At first, UDisc was only a course finder.
Really?
And then the scorecard came in later out of necessity.
I think you said you were frustrated, right? That you couldn't find a good place to go find courses.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of how it started. It wasn't that I couldn't find a good place. It was that I couldn't find a good place on mobile. So I was out with my friends in a new part of town. I wanted to find what was the closest place to where I was, and it was very frustrating to figure that out. So that's kind of where that was born from. But to answer Johnny's question about sorting by scores and things like that, we do plan to expand the search quite a bit here as we go along. But what you can do is look at the leaderboards. So I just opened up the leaderboard for Vision Quest. I'm looking at the last 30 days of scores here. So you can kind of get an idea for what people are scoring. The only thing is this doesn't necessarily tell you how good each person is, but if you
correct,
yeah, if you looked historically, you could get an idea for it. That's something that we'll be tackling pretty soon here, is figuring out ways to rate things a little bit better. Since we have all these stats, we have a lot more ways that we can go about this than just what was your total score on a course. So I think that we're going to be able to offer something pretty cool there later this year.
That's great.
Anyway, I don't want to necessarily get into every single feature because this would bore everybody to death and take all night. I think the main thing is, go download the free version and give it a try. I'm going to show you one more of the really cool things that we have before we stop talking about this. So back on the main screen here, I've got a scorecard that I created earlier. So, and again, this scorecard is still the old scorecard. We haven't touched this for 2 or 3 years now, and the new version's already done, but we're still testing it, and we have to do a whole bunch of stuff to transfer all the, the hundreds and thousands of scorecards that people already have in the app to the new scorecard. So we have to do a little bit of very tedious and not very fun work to translate all the old scorecards to the new version. But once that's done, this will look completely different. So don't get used to this. But anyway, one thing that a lot of people don't know that is that we have all these course maps. Right now, the easiest way to get to them is when you're inside of a scorecard. See where this hole distance is listed up here? It says 406 feet.
Yeah.
So let's say you're at the course, you're playing around, you get to this hole, and you're not sure, you haven't played this hole before, and you don't really know much about it. So you click on that distance right there, and it's going to load up the whole map for this specific hole. And in this case, let's say that blue dot is where I'm standing. So with the new maps here, we actually drew circle 1 and circle 2, and those are actually to scale. So as you zoom, they're going to stay the right size. So if you wanted to know, like GPS on a smartphone especially is not perfectly accurate. So that's something that we need to state. That's not something that we can do anything about. It's just physics and how GPS works. So this can't be the end-all be-all, but right now that is telling me that my dot is 42 feet away from the basket. So therefore, it's probably pretty safe to say that I'm outside of circle 1. So this could be an aid for people in situations where they're not sure if they're in the circle or not. You could use it that way.
Well, one of the things I noticed, is that showing you where the next tee is as well?
Yeah.
Yep, that's one of the new things that we just added. So if I go back to the all view here, you'll see that as you zoom in here, you can get a little dotted line from the basket to the next tee. So this is super useful when you go to a new course and you don't know where the next tee is and the course doesn't have any signage.
Yeah, because we've run into that traveling for years where, if the signage doesn't say next hole, but you may look around and think, I don't see another hole, and what you don't know is it's just maybe through the little path in the woods, but you have no clue that you need to bust a right and not go left and run into hole 16 when you were on hole 5 or whatever it might be.
Exactly, yeah. And that was kind of something people have been asking for a long time, and it wasn't too hard to do. We just had to do a little bit of trigonometry and figure out how to draw that line. So what I wanted to show you really quick, so let's go back to hole 4 here. So let's say you're on the tee and there's water up here, obviously, and you're curious, how far do I need to carry my disc to get over the water to lay up in front of the water or something like that. So what you can do now is just tap and hold. It'll drop a little pin and it'll tell you, okay, the tee is 321 feet from this point. So I actually find this to be super useful when I go play new courses that have water and, you're deciding if you want to try to go for it or to lay up. And if you can see, really quick, like, oh, okay, it's 320 feet to the water, I can definitely make that. I'm going to just lay up because I'm not going to throw this 400-foot shot to get to the basket.
Can Terry drop a pin where he throws in the water so he knows later to find it?
Sure.
All right.
Over here. No, maybe it'd be over here, actually.
Oh.
Whatever.
He's saying you shanked it.
Yeah, well, yeah. But anyway.
Wow, that's really cool. Now, I could take this a step further, and I'm not going to do it, but I could take it a step further, pull up the app during a broadcast.
Yeah.
And actually, from where I'm standing, drop a few pins. And if I was specifically looking for a distance, whether it was from the tee or to the pin. Now, there's indicators clearly when I'm there. Usually, I can kind of judge on my own. But if I were on a course that I didn't know very well, or there was
if you're
a 700 or 800 foot hole,
yep, and you don't know if Barsby just threw 350 or 425, you can't quite tell.
Sure,
you could probably put a pin in it and get into general idea.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of those great uses for it. Again, and I said that in my specific case, I probably don't have the time and the brain power to do all that during the live show, but that is another way where someone could certainly make use of it.
And I look at this as something like we have just approved recently in the past couple of years, rangefinders.
Yes,
this almost eliminates that. You can
it could, yeah,
you can get a pretty accurate within probably 5 to 8 feet of how far you are from the pin, assuming that you have the right pin placement and where you are.
Yep.
Yeah, and
I mean, GPS on a smartphone, I think 10 feet is about the best you can get, but it's still usually good enough for your purposes of estimation. It's not necessarily, in the circle stuff, I think it's close, and you can use it as an aid, but I wouldn't say, UDisc says I'm 32 feet away, so I'm going to jump putt.
Yeah. And Johnny, you kind of just bring in a perfect point to go along with that. Is this weekend at the Masters event, they were playing Riverside Park, and both rounds, DJ Ellis, who I happen to follow, he was in the I guess the featured card, whatever you want to call it. DJ and Shasta were teammates, and he had his own binoculars, rangefinders with him, and he was pulling it out all the time.
Do you see what he's doing? He's moving the pin.
Oh, that's not nice.
Yeah. So all these maps, that's the other thing I didn't mention. All these maps have been created and submitted by users. So we built this course editor that you can use to create the whole thing and submit it.
Oh, that's phenomenal. I mean, because you've got the different dog legs for our audio people who are listening. We're looking at a more or less a smartphone, and he's able to create a course map right on the fly. So in case you're at a course that that maybe isn't mapped, you can pull out your UDisc app, drop a pin, drop a tee, and maybe even a path. So, for instance, if you don't have a straight path at it through the woods, and you want to, and that you need to take a hyzer route because that's the only option, you can add the dog legs in there. That's great, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, that's it's been pretty fun to build this. I mean, the course mapper's actually been around now for almost 4 years, I think, but we really did a complete redesign of it and made it significantly better, I think. We still don't support things like marking where OB is or, like drawing an outline of the fairway and things like that, just because in disc golf, I think that's a pretty tricky problem to solve because, like ball golf has very well-defined roughs and fairways. It's just, where is the grass mowed?
Sure.
Whereas in disc golf, that's been something we talked about a lot with UDisc live scoring as well when we're trying to decide if people are in the fairway or off the fairway and whatnot.
So one of my follow-ups would be, and I think this is a debate that you hear all the time, which is why I'm going to bring it up for everyone to hear. When we're looking at a potential map, is that going to be then following, we'll say, the quote-unquote intended fairway, or is that straight tee to pin as the bird's eye view, as the crow flies?
Yeah, and
that's what I'm trying to spit out.
It would honestly be really nice to have a discussion with a big group of people to figure out what the right way to measure a hole is. I'm sure that there's some standards out there, but me personally, I think that it should be kind of the intended design. I mean, like for example, look what I just drew here. Like, let's say that if you're Simon Lizotte and you can throw straight over the trees and go to the basket, does that really mean that the hole is shorter? I really don't think that it does.
Correct. I totally agree. And
it's a debate that's gone on for course designers for years.
Yeah. I think it really depends. I mean, if the woods here is, really thin and people can take lines through it, then maybe that makes sense. But I think it should be whatever the intended design was, in my opinion, at least.
Yeah. Usually center of if you have a corridor that has dog legs, for instance, a lot of people will say, you're going right down the center of the fairway following that dog leg, and it's not just point to point. And so I guess my question is, and maybe I think you just answered it. You're saying right now, though, how will it measure that actual distance?
Oh, so it's going to measure along that white line that you see.
Okay, so for there, it will measure.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So if I finish this, see if I can go back to that hole.
Yeah. No, like as he moves the pin and he adjusts the fairway, it's changing the distance of the hole as opposed to, you know, as we said, as the crow flies. Wow, that's
some next level stuff, bro.
yeah, no doubt.
I think that's what they say.
And so looking at some of the other quick features, obviously you've got a list of your previous rounds. You have a course directory, your particular stats. What are some of the stats that you do capture and track?
Yeah, so since we're only capturing hole scores and not where the disc landed every shot like we do for UDisc Live, we still can only do things like, you know, birdie percentages and bogey percentages and averages and best scores and things like that. So like here's a graph with, you know, birdie percentage and par percentage and bogey percentage. And I'll let you in on a little secret. This is actually my real profile, so don't judge me.
No way.
His best is a -14. On what course?
It was stable run at Iowa State University playing on the short tees. So
okay.
I missed the birdie on the first hole, which is like 100 feet. Then yeah. But yeah, so those stats actually haven't changed. These are all the same old stats. So again, we are rewriting all of the stats and all of the scorecard, and all of this will be replaced. So the course part, this new release that we had, the main thing was that we spent the last year completely rebuilding the course directory from scratch. So we took the old one, which was kind of becoming unmaintainable, and changed it into something super modern. It uses the same technology that UDisc Live uses, which is a huge relief because it's a lot easier for us to maintain. And it's a lot easier for us to approve data and for people to submit data. So we've been getting about 300 course updates a day since the update. And we've been approving them within a few minutes usually. So that's kind of our goal, is to approve course data as soon as people get it in there. Let's see, then I was going to show the profile really quick. So this is kind of a cool new view that we have where you can just see a kind of a brief overview of some of the things that you've done. My favorite is this map view, which actually shows all the courses that I've played. And if you click on it, it'll give you a little bit different view with some clustering. So you can zoom in and get a little bit better view of all the stuff you played. And then kind of the other layer to that is that we have a wish list feature, so you can wish list courses. So if I click on that, that'll go out and show you that I want to play Pier Park someday.
Only 1,400 miles away from you.
Yep, De La Vega and Fountain Hills.
Okay.
And I think I just have some random one here, but
very cool.
And so for the people, I'm going to come back to a shot. So for the people that have the old UDisc app, you are working on migrating their data over to the new database and app. Is that correct?
No. So everybody that has the old one just needs to update in the App Store to get the new one. Everybody gets it right away. What I was talking about was that before we can release the new scorecard, Josh and I have some work to do to write some code to translate all the old scorecards to the new scorecard, basically.
Perfect.
More or less. So we already have the new scorecard done, but we can't just release it because it would erase all of your old scorecards, which is not something we want to do.
No, people might be a little upset at that.
Oh yeah, yep.
So
that'll be a little tricky because like I said, we are going to have the advanced scoring like we do for the Pro Tour, where you're putting in where your shot landed each throw.
I also noticed
like circle one and all that. So.
Another feature that I noticed when I opened up the app and set it up was that it asked me if it wanted to be a fitness tracker as well to keep track of my steps.
Oh hell no! I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you can say no, but yeah, on your scorecard, I don't know if I have one that has it on here. There we go. Yep. So at the bottom here, I walked 1.38 miles during this round. Oops, sorry, stop moving there. It's at the very bottom here. It's kind of messy. That's why we need to replace this old scorecard. It's so bad, but it's coming. But yeah, so if you enable the fitness tracking stuff, it's on Android and on iPhone. When you are done with your round, and actually during your round, you can see, but when you're done, it'll show you how far you walked, how many steps, basically.
Does your profile keep track of like total miles walked and everything?
No, that's a feature that Josh and I were going to put on this profile page here, and we just didn't get around to it. But I'm pretty sure that that'll happen.
It'll be there, I'm sure. You guys are good like that.
So one of the questions that I think seems all but inevitable is, with the approval of a couple years ago now, a year or two ago, of integrating various technology into discs, are you guys just now in that perfect position so that when that does become a thing, you will be just a few keyboard strokes away from interacting with said discs? You talk about where discs are landing, disc speed, all of that other stuff. Clearly all stuff that could get fed into possibly one of your profiles. Or do you feel like this may develop, and it may be more on a proprietary level with the specific manufacturers who may then release information, we'll say on just their app exclusively or something like that.
I mean, that's an interesting question. So interestingly enough, actually, in college, my senior design project in 2007 was actually a disc golf disc tracker. So we actually made a chip that went on a disc so that you could track how far, or not how far it went, but just where it was. It was just a beeper, basically. And there are some things out there right now that sort of kind of do it, but the
disc
problem
beeper.
still. What was that?
Disc beeper, I think, is one specifically, is the name of it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And our project was actually before that was around. I think maybe I'm wrong on that. I don't know, but I think could have been around about the same time. But there are some things out there that do some more advanced stuff. But the problem is battery life, size. Bluetooth is not very good. Bluetooth has a range of only 10 meters. When Bluetooth 5 comes out pretty soon, I think it doubles to 20 meters, I think. But that's still not really good enough for disc golf. I mean, about 66 feet is not going to help you find your disc or be able to track the entire flight. So eventually, if that happens, I mean, yeah, that'd be great. We have a couple friends that are in the hardware business that are chomping at the bit to help us with stuff. It's just technologically not really feasible yet.
Okay. Well,
But we have some other ideas. Let me just tell you that. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the disc for it to work. We'll just say that.
Oh, drones following every shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
We know those
if
are.
you buy UDisc with a free drone that will follow you.
I think there's that feature's out there. That sounds like a good idea. Just to clarify for everyone, because there's been a lot of chatter on the board regarding the operating systems, what's available where. Give everyone the real quick the overview on what you have, where it's available, and how they may or may not vary.
Yep, yeah, it's available for iPhone and Android. There's almost nothing that's different anymore. In the past, sometimes there were a few features that would come on iPhone and not on Android, and that's just purely a time thing. iPhone is, and this is, I need to state, I love both Android and iPhone, and I develop for both. I do use one more for my personal stuff, but I actually like developing for Android more than iPhone. And the problem is that it actually takes significantly longer to build anything for Android. And it's not because it's harder, it's because there's so many different phones out there that you have to test on.
Okay.
So in the past, there were some times when features got skipped on Android, and they weren't usually very big features. They were usually kind of minor things. Like, for example, back in the day, we didn't have the ability for you to plot out the courses you'd played or the wish list on a map like this. We had a list view, like this, but we didn't have the map view on Android, and now we have that on Android as well. So everything I've shown you today, I'm using an iPhone simulator here just because that's a little bit easier for me to share my screen with you. But everything you're seeing here is available on Android as well. There's nothing here that isn't.
Okay. And Apple Watch updates is a question that came in.
Yep. So yeah, let me just address that since I have the audience right now. Maybe this will save me 10 or 20 emails.
Yeah. Or 2 million.
Yeah, maybe. You never know. So Apple Watch, we have a scorecard app where it's a scorecard companion for the Apple Watch. It's been out for about 2 years, I think, and it allows you to enter scores from your Apple Watch. That still works fine, and it will continue to work fine, but we haven't updated it yet because the new scorecard is coming, and it doesn't make sense for us to update that and put out the new scorecard, then have to rebuild the whole thing from scratch, which is what we would have to do to support the new scorecard. So later this year, or probably more likely in the winter, is when the new Apple Watch app would come out, and the plan is to also release the Android Wear scorecard app at that point, so that we will finally be able to keep score from our Android smartwatches. But it didn't really make sense to do that right before we replace the scorecard, because then we'd just be writing it twice, and there's only so much time in a day.
Awesome. A lot of this stuff looks phenomenal. I'm really excited to be able to use it for the 3 rounds I play a year. But for our users that actually play a round a day or 2 rounds a day, this is going to be huge. And I'm looking at an email you sent us saying that there might be a promo code, or that you're able to do something along those lines now.
Yeah. So do you still have the simulator sharing, the iPhone? You still have that showing?
Yep.
Okay. So if you go ahead and download the app, you can get the free version, and we have a promo code for everybody. So if you want, you can get a free month of UDisc Pro, which is the full syncing with friends and the ability to keep unlimited scorecards and save them to your account and participate in leaderboards and all that sort of stuff. So if you go ahead and get the free version, you'll go to this More tab down here, click on Apply Promo Code, and just enter SMASH, and you'll get a free month of UDisc Pro. So anybody that's listening right now, feel free to do that. That'll work on iPhone and on Android. So you just put in, oops, can't type.
So for those, and real quick, how much is normally a Pro account?
It's $4.99 a year.
$4.99, for the less than a price of a Starbucks cup of coffee, or an airport drink,
or an entry-level disc,
You can keep track of your statistics, your putting, your driving, all that stuff on
course wish list,
on the UDisc app. And if you're even hesitant at all, we've just given you a 1 month free promo code to go out and try the app. So please there's no reason for you not to go out there, download the app, and give it a shot. I guarantee you that this can, if you're dedicated to it, it can help your game, and B, support those who support disc golf. As we say, these guys, we know them, we've met them, we actually like them.
So, at least 50% of them.
At least most of them, the ones that show up tonight. Sorry, Josh. But give it a shot. Go out there, use the promo code, and we'll and figure out what's in the app and what you can use it for.
Yeah, it's something. It's very interesting being in the app business because I'm the same way. You see something that costs $4 or $5, and you're like, that seems kind of questionable. But then you go buy a disc that's $15 and throw it in a lake, and go buy another one. So I think the point is, it's $5. It's not too much. Try it out. If you can try it for free, you don't need to give us any money if you don't want to. But we are super dedicated to this. We fix every single bug that we know about. We're working on it, 10 hours a day, each of us. We're here to do this because we like it.
And unlike a disc, if you drop your phone in the lake, your account's good. You get the account back. You don't get those discs back. You get that $5 account back.
All right. Final question would be, because I know how hard you work. You've talked about working on it for many years. It's talked about the origin, where it came from, and I know both you and Josh do a ton of work. If a company was to bill out, whether it's the overall hours or the product or the output or whatever, give us just a super rough idea of what you think. If somebody created this from scratch, that I went to a company tomorrow and said, hey, I have this idea for an app, and it did everything that you guys do. Give us a ballpark figure. $500,000 it would cost in labor? 10 million? 20 million?
Way more than that. No.
You don't Google.
It would be impossible to quantify. I would think at this point you'd need 6 people working for 2 years.
Okay.
All right.
And then
at least at like $8 an hour, $8.25.
Probably $50 an hour.
Okay. Yeah, at least, yeah.
And you wouldn't have the course database, so you'd still have to build that, which is I think something that we're really proud of, because we have a completely independent course database that is ours, and eventually we will share it with the world. Coming soon.
Well, awesome. Well, we appreciate it. It's great when I'm out in the field calling the action more often than not with Steve Dodge lately, and he just pulls up his phone and it has numbers, and it's all stuff that you guys have made happen. And seeing that integration with the Pro Tour, I think, has really spoiled our Pro Tour viewers. People have become so used to it. I know when I look at any kind of event information after the fact, I'm always like, oh, I guess I can see their scores, maybe. And that's all you get. And so what you guys have done, just in the Pro Tour realm, which is how we got to know each other so much better, has been amazing. So we thank you, all the Smashies. Thank you for that. And then, like Johnny said, if you actually get to go play some golf on your own, it seems like a no-brainer to not have your app to go out there and do it with. So thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you and Josh for everything you guys are doing. It's been awesome to see.
Thank you. Don't forget to watch Idlewild for the Pro Tour this week.
Idlewild Pro Tour in about 40 some hours.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. There's an app for that.
We've already got all the tee times up on udisclive.com if you want to go check that out. Oh.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to have to start creating those events for everybody and making sure we get those links out and share them. So Idlewild.
All right, Matt.
Countdown.
Thank you for the time. Thanks for the explanation. As you said, people can find you in all various forms of social media, and you guys are very receptive to bugs, kinks, fixes, tech support, all of that stuff. You have no other life, and I think everybody else
not anymore, Mr. Full-time UDisc app.
And the disc golf world certainly appreciates it and needs to. So thank you guys to what you're doing, and we'll look forward to chatting with you more in a couple days.
Oh, one last question.
Uh-oh.
Have you ever thought about branching out to regular golf, or is it?
I mean, maybe, but that market is pretty crowded, and
Is
they
it?
have
Okay.
there's some private course directories that you can pay to get access to, but they're pretty expensive because ball golfers have a little bit
More cash.
You know, they're willing to spend
Okay.
The $5.
Yeah, they're willing to spend the $5 a year. Okay, excellent.
Yeah, so just so you know how good you have it with $5 a year, a lot of the ball golf apps are $30 a month or something like that.
Wow.
And that's
just to tell them that they suck, probably.
Yeah, just to watch them. Yeah.
All right, pal. Well, we appreciate your time, and again, looking forward to the interaction in a couple days from Idlewild.
Good.
All right, have a good night. See ya.
Thanks, Matt.
Again, Matt Krueger, one of the co-founders of the beautiful UDisc app, and go out there. That may have been a little too much tech or not enough tech for you, depending where you are on the spectrum. It doesn't matter. Go out and see how interactive and how awesome that app is. If I played golf, I have it downloaded and I pay for a pro version. If I played golf, it would be an absolute staple in my bag. The scorekeeping has been around forever and has been great, but so many things. And I remember dating back a few years ago when people would be like, they would post an image of how far they threw. And I was like, what are they using to do that? And then sure enough, it was from UDisc, who you could put a pin down, put a pin in another place, and it would tell you just that. And then they just continue to grow and expand, and it's really great to see. So thanks for everything you guys are doing. And, you know, as it says on the board, hard worker, all-around great guy. Both him and Josh have just have crushed it out there.
And someone brought up, there was I'm only going to give props to this because there was another app that used to be used. It was a scorecard app that I think I had downloaded at one time. Our friend Steve had downloaded. I
used it.
Yeah, what was the name of it? It was like just Scorecard.
No, it was
Scorecard Lite or something. Anyway, that's not, last time I checked, that's not under even development anymore. I believe he stopped, whoever did do that has stopped developing for that. So you're going to end up, you know, eventually at some point it's going to be out of date, which is the main impetus on why I originally went to UDisc. Because I did like that app. I'm like, these guys are, you know, it was started as a golf app, but I'm like, oh, these guys are disc golf guys. I'm going to try this. And I liked it. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And with the more and more that they've done to it, I've just fallen more and more in love with it. Even, like I said, when I do get my occasional round in, I score it with the UDisc app. So I'm really excited about it. I think that this is not the last thing you're going to see from UDisc. I have a feeling that they are going to be...
They're going to own us.
They're going to own us. I know. It's going to be so sad.
We're going to sell out to them.
Oh, for sure.
At some point.
For sure.
I think that's inevitable. They will own us. The app you're thinking of that I also used for quite some time before I knew any better and before I got up to speed with UDisc many years ago when I played... Easy Scorecard Pro.
Oh, yeah, the Easy Scorecard Pro.
I had used. And it's funny because I've got Worlds rounds. I've got all sorts of things that I used to keep individual scores from leagues and everything else. And I used an app called Easy Scorecard Pro. And at that time, it was cutting edge. And now here we are with everything that UDisc can do and then some. So.
Yeah, and I believe, and maybe I'm wrong, but last time I had checked, I tried to go to their website. It's almost non-existent. There's some login stuff, but there's nothing, trust me, there's nothing like UDisc out there.
Nope.
And you're not going to find anything else. So I highly recommend going out and supporting them.
If you like it, put a pin in it or something. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Swipe right on UDisc. Is that what you want to say?
That too.
So that's great.
All right. Well, again, thanks to Matt. His co-founder is on the other side of the globe, somewhere else. So Josh occasionally will join us from time to time. I believe he's over in England or somewhere, and he's always
Somewhere
6
in
or 8
Europe.
or 10 hours ahead of us, and
he knows the future.
The timing is sometimes off, but glad we could have Matt give us all the details. Very cool.
We're going to take a couple-minute break here as we show you a new review from our disc golf review guru, Disc Golf Nerd. He sent us a review of the Innova AVR 3. So if you want to just sit back and relax for a moment while I go get myself another drink.
I'm hammered.
You haven't been drinking.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway.
I'm high on life, bro.
Here's an interview. Here's a review of the AVR 3.
What's up, Smashies? This month we're taking a look at the Innova AVR 3. This particular one is in DX plastic. These are flat-topped, stable to slightly overstable putt-and approach discs from Innova. I really like the 3 Series discs. I like the nice flat top. Feels good in my hand. I've never really enjoyed the feel of a domey disc, and this particular disc just feels really nice and just very comfortable in the hand. It's got a very traditional beadless AVR type feel. You can see it's got that very characteristic flat top and a very smooth rounded contour to it. Everybody knows Innova's DX plastic. It's their baseline plastic. It's the least expensive, but it still maintains a good grip, especially on rainy days, and it will break in and have that nice straight flight a little bit sooner. I would imagine this disc has a little bit more stability in the more premium plastics, but I have not tested those to be 100% sure. But I am definitely willing to bet a Star AVR3 would be somewhat more overstable than this particular disc in the DX plastic. In flight, it's a very straight flying disc. It's a real point and shoot, something that doesn't take a very long time for me to kind of understand what it's going to do. Throw it down on a little hyzer, it'll stand up just a touch and fly very straight, and has a pretty consistent and dependable small fade at the end of the flight. It's not something that really drops out dramatically, but it is a noticeable little hookup at the end of the flight. You can dial it in to get it to just fly very straight all the way. You can have it hold a turnover for some period of time and kind of pan out flat at the end of the flight. A really accurate point and shoot approach disc or short range driver. In and around the basket, it's solid. It's something that you have to put a little bit more energy on. So if you're a little bit more of a forceful spin putt type player, you might enjoy this thing inside the circle. Or if you just like that really nice flat top feel. I know this disc isn't supposed to have a ton of glide, but in the DX plastic, this disc will stand up for a little while and carry a little bit farther than I was expecting. All in all, it's a solid mold, very nice in and around the basket, and as a short range driver off the tee. Well, that's it for my segment this month. Big thank you to Smashbox for having me be a part of the show. If you would like to see the full review of this disc as well as over 150 others, plus beginner tips and information, the Plastic Podcast, and lots of other disc golf related content, just search for Disc Golf Nerd on YouTube or Google. Thanks everybody. Cheers.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Thanks to Disc Golf Nerd for doing the review of the AVR 3. He is the Roger Ebert of our sport, giving you the ins and outs of every disc.
Roger Ebert used to do that with Cisco, right?
Yeah, Cisco.
They reviewed
the
thongs.
thong songs. Yes, the thong song, Cisco. Jesus. The other thing I want to mention is someone else mentioned it on the board. Remember, for UDisc, the app, the promo code is just SMASH. 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 Use that. Go out there, give it a try. I guarantee you, once you see what's out there, you're going to love it. So thanks again, Disc Golf Nerd. Go out to his channel, Disc Golf Nerd, on YouTube, and see the full reviews and everything he has.
And not to be confused with one of my favorite treats of all time from Norway.
You mention it every time.
It's amazing. Smash is a great Norwegian junk food, as they say.
I'm Norwegian. If you're from Norway and you can send Terry some Smash food, we would appreciate it. We'll eat it on the air.
Oh, yeah, we will. I mean, they're basically chocolate-covered bugles, and I was introduced to them by either Val or Nate or Avery, one of them. They have them. They're amazing. Go out and find some Smash, and then enter in the promo code SMASH for your UDisc app.
We did talk to Uli. He will be showing up a little later. He is still doing whatever he's doing. I don't know.
Drowning in champagne victory baths.
Yeah, that could be something like that. He said he might take this week off, and what does he go and do? He goes and wins.
That's what winners do. Speaking of taking a week off, what a segue there, Johnny. Ricky Wysocki posted yesterday saying, Essentially, he's going to stand down for the Idlewild event. He's not going to compete. He's going to stay on a little mental break for himself, and he's going to forego playing in Idlewild this weekend. And he, of course, apologizes, saying if anyone's disappointed or mad or frustrated that he's not going to be there, some of his fan base and beyond, I'm sure. But interesting to see. I know this last weekend he played in some type of a skins match that involved some other DD members and having a really good time.
Yep.
And I think there's some videos that were just posted by Paige and the rest of the Dynamic Disc crew. So go out and view those. But interesting. Just interesting to see that obviously one of our sports best is going to take the weekend off again. I mean, last weekend he played. Maybe it wasn't as mentally taxing.
I was to say, it seems like he's taking the last couple weeks off.
Hey, ouch. Shots fired.
No, Ricky's a good guy, but he seems like he just needs a mental break from competition. And he said that his mind isn't in it lately. He's having a hard time focusing, whether it's a post-Worlds hangover, so to speak, or whether it's just something he needs to work through. It's unfortunate he's going to take Idlewild off. It'd be nice if he could have taken a different weekend off. But, the next couple of weekends, we've got some big events coming up. So between Pittsburgh and Idlewild, and then, in a couple...
Green Mountain Championship. Vibram.
Yeah, so this might be, to him, the best one to take off. But ultimately, I hope it clears up whatever issues he has with his game, because the sport, as we said last week, the sport is better when you have more good players, whether it's Josh, Ricky, Paul, Dana, those guys. The top four, as we always say.
Yes. We should put Dynamite right in that category. And as we alluded to earlier, of course, we'll keep an eye on Pro Masters Worlds taking place all week. Idlewild taking place this weekend is, in fact, going to be a Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I think that was a little bit of a shocker to you.
Yeah, I found that out today, that I thought it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I realize now it's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday we'll be broadcasting. I'm excited, and I need to make some adjustments at work.
Okay, well, so taking place, and UDisc had mentioned, Matt had just mentioned a little while ago that the tee times were posted. In fact, why don't we check it out while we're at it? This is the Idlewild Open presented by UDisc, and if you go out there right now, you can see all of the various tee times. I'm going to scroll down to roughly our live time, and I'm going to go ahead and say, we'll go to the 2:15, the second to last card, shows Greg Barsby, James Conrad, Paul Ulibarri, and Jeremy Colling, all teeing at 2:15.
That's what we're referring to as the Jomez card. Jomez will be covering that card.
Okay. And on our 2:30 card, we are seeing Nico LaCastro, Matthew Blakely, Michael Johansson, and Paul Macbeth.
That's the Smashbox card. That's the card we'll be covering.
Oh, okay. I see how that works now. Excuse me. So that is at 2:30. Again, I believe that's going to be
I've not
Central.
heard anything about CCDG, whether they're going to be there or if they're covering anything, or Prodigy for that matter either. I'm assuming Prodigy.
Honestly, I'm not sure. Those are and the main reason why we're not sure is because those are usually Steve Dodge interactions, and we haven't talked to Steve specifically about who's going to be where doing what just yet. So that's why we don't know off the top of our head. So we're seeing that on the women's side, who will likely be teeing off earlier in the day.
Are those Eastern time?
No, it says live coverage all 3 days is at says is at 2:30 Eastern. Wow, so that's gonna be 1:30 Central, as they say.
Yeah. So
am I in the Eastern time zone at that point? Anybody know? I don't think I'm far enough east. Somebody should let me know.
You're in Kentucky. We know.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, because when we go over to Michigan, we lose an hour. Kentucky is not south of Wisconsin.
There's Indiana. That's goofy and stuff.
Yeah, but Indiana's goofy.
Tennessee is central. So, somebody can. I'm sure everyone's screaming on the board. Yes, it's Eastern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, why don't you find one of those lines? Let me know. So yes, I will be in Eastern. Good to know. So that means in my travels tomorrow, I will be losing an hour while traveling there.
Kentucky splits right down the middle.
Okay, so there. So it wasn't so obvious, jerk face. Make me sound like I'm dumb. Look at that. So Kentucky, where we're going to be, at least, is in the Eastern zone. Yeah, because it's just under that Ohio place area. So for what that's worth.
All times are Eastern that we were
That's gonna be a little bit earlier day. So on the women's side, let me get over to there. Yeah, you guys like this some geography 101. Well, I got to admit that Kentucky. We've never been live in Kentucky. No, we have Bowling Green. I've done very little filming in Kentucky. Let's just leave it there. That's why I don't exactly know what's going on when. At 8:30 a.m. on the women's side. Wow, what a stacked field we have here. We've got, at 8:30, we've got Paige Pierce, Sarah Hokum, and Jessica Weiss. At 8:40, Lisa Fakis, Rebecca Cox, Katrina Allen. And then at 8:50, Michelle Frazier, Melody Weibel, Kelly Tucker. And then at 9 o'clock, Angela Cook, Courtney Cannon, and the recently engaged, Tina Stenitis. Congrats, Eric and Tina. I saw a post on the Facebooks today that Eric had proposed to Tina, and she said yes.
I was as shocked as the rest of you
Yes.
that she said yes.
Yep.
As I'm sure Eric was. Those guys have been on tour together for the past year and a half or so, and congratulations to them. We look forward to many, many great adventures with those two.
And broadcasting your wedding live.
Yeah, and we'll be broadcasting your wedding live for the low, low price of whatever you can afford to pay us.
So very cool. Again, congrats to the both of them, seeing that on Facebook. Also seen on the Facebooks.
Some Idlewild holes. I saw
one hole.
I saw one Idlewild hole, but I've seen it 3 times, and all 3 times I've seen 3 shots.
Apparently,
there's
everybody aces on that hole.
I guess so. I mean, if
you're DQ'd if you don't get an ace during the round.
Yeah, if you are in need of your first ace, just travel to Idlewild. I watched Paul Macbeth yesterday throw a shot. He a called shot that he aced. This morning, I watched Jessica Weiss ace. This afternoon, I saw Paul Macbeth ace again.
I tell you.
So I called it to Terry on the phone. Paul Macbeth takes at least a 4 on that hole during the round. Just because we've seen him ace so many times, he's flaunting the disc golf gods. He's teasing us. He's going to hit one of those trees and kick so far left or right that he might cry. I wouldn't be surprised if we see live tears.
I don't know if we've ever had those.
Yeah, well, on
live?
Smashbox?
Yeah.
We've never
tears of sadness.
Never had tears of sadness.
I don't know about any tears of joy, probably, but
I'm sure.
I don't know about any tears of sadness. So, I will admit, Idlewild has been a highly rated course for many, many years. However, I have not been there, which I'm a little saddened by. So I'm excited. That's going to change. But a lot of people, when you put out your top 5 or your top 10 list, a lot of people will mention Idlewild within that conversation. Yeah. So I'm excited to go there and see it for my first time during this weekend. And I'm looking for any feedback on the board. What do people know? What are people saying? Do you feel, I know I've heard that the course is longer and very challenging in some areas.
Heavily wooded.
And I'd love to know what some people, how they feel about the course. I'm sure there's some people out on the board that have played it and could give us their feedback. But looking forward to seeing how our top pros go out and attack it. Plan per the usual this year on Smashbox. We will have the women's round filmed in the morning. Steve Dodge will cut the pieces together in one way or another. Who knows in which style this time? But Steve Dodge will cut the pieces together, and then that will get fed into our live feed that evening or that afternoon, a couple hours later.
People seem to like that.
I was thinking just the other day about what we did prior to that and how we had to fill time and how we're limited on people and cameras and budgets and all those other things. And Steve Dodge's idea of cutting that women's footage in, albeit it's 100 times more hassle for the whole concept to happen, it really, I hope it really helps a lot of the viewers at home enjoy the golf.
Of course. And here's what I'll say. If you think about it, our broadcasts are about, on average, 3.5 hours long, we'll say. 3.5 to 4.
Sure.
Really, that's only about 20 to 25 minutes worth of, 25 minutes worth of video. Because they're on average about a minute. He cuts about a minute per shot. If you
sure. Okay.
And if you, but those 24 minutes, 25 minutes are a huge difference rather than filling them with repeated ads, because that 25 minutes is 50 ads on average. So rather than showing 50 ads, you guys are getting women's coverage, which I think is phenomenal. I think it's great. It is one of the better things that Steve Dodge has brought to us, and I hope that
one of the few ideas that work that we liked of his.
Yeah.
No, just kidding.
No, Steve's great.
And of course, thanks to UDisc, you can go out and you can see
spoil yourself if you want to spoil the women's coverage and look at the scores.
No, well,
for
that too.
shame.
I wasn't going to say that. What I was going to say is you can go out there right now and you can do a course preview of sorts, and you can look at T signs. You can look at all the information out there. Where hole 1 starts in at 638 feet. On the board, it was listed, I think, as a total of just over 9,000 feet. So I'll do some math for you guys at home. That means an average of more than 500 feet per hole on average. So if they're acing the 192-footer, there's other holes that are much longer.
I've got 2 comments. One, how did people feel last week about showing the FPO coverage when they were at a different course? Because we had the women over at Sunset.
Or Northwood, yep.
Or Northwood,
Either one,
whichever one. And then the men were at Eureka. So it was a little different, because normally, like what we'll see this weekend, where everyone plays the same course, I'm 112% sure, or 92, that it's very interesting to watch how the women attack a hole versus how the men attack a hole. Well, last week we didn't get a chance to see that. We just cut right to women throwing a different hole. And I thought it was a little jarring at first, and I thought it was a little confusing, but ultimately you're seeing different golf. You're seeing more golf. I liked it, but it was just different to me because it was one of the few times we showed the women on a different course.
Yeah. And then even the references, and I'll admit, with me not being, usually I'm usually the guy covering the women in the morning and then handing the footage over to Steve. Well, I wasn't that guy. That was Marty McGee over at Prodigy was filming the women lead card. So he handed the footage over, and normally I can either relate or talk about what's unfolding because I saw it with my own eyes. So it's a little bit more relatable for me. So not only were they at a different course, but I also didn't know, every intricacy of what was going on over there. So for myself, that was a little odd at first as well. But it seemed like it went well, and and huge props to Steve Dodge for not only the vision, but then also sitting down and helping perform the execution of it to get it there. So
ultimately, if we had more people and more resources, I would have loved to see, before the women's show, cut to a graphic of the hole or something like that. But obviously we have so little time. Terry Roddy, who is many of you know, he's an old school disc golfer. He's actually he works camera and I think other things for the PGA. He shared a video of the recent PGA championships over in, I believe was it North Carolina?
Somewhere where Robert Leonard is.
Yeah, somewhere on the East Coast. And the 18 to 20 semis that they use for just the CBS broadcast, I believe it was, and the 4 different microwave satellite trucks. And he said that was just them. That didn't even include the Golf Channel. And he had this really cool time lapse of all these. And I just kept looking at it going, if one person complains to me about not having multi-hole coverage, I'm going to point them to this video and show them what it takes to do all these holes, because it was amazing seeing what he had shown us to what it takes to produce a huge, large-scale event like that. It was massive and amazing.
Well, we're continuing to grow. Next year we may expand by a person or a cameraman or not. We'll see.
Does that cameraman come with 15 semis?
I hope so.
That would be great.
But we're looking forward to new ways that we can continue to expand and try out new things. One thing that I think is worth noting now, and it's not a big shocker or spoiler for next week, unfortunately, it's been confirmed that there is just not usable signal over in Pittsburgh,
At
where
Moraine
a
Park.
lot of our disc golfers will shift. They're obviously at Idlewild this weekend, and they're moving back on to the national tour, which will be taking place over at Moraine State Park in Pittsburgh area, and that is the home of one of the world's courses in 2015, and it just sounds as if the signal there is unusable. And so rather than going there for a very long, challenging, demanding course and fighting through what may be almost unusable or unwatchable video signals and feeds, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to be live there. The PDGA had reached out. They helped research it.
We wanted to do it.
We wanted to do it. Everybody's on board, but it's just one of those situations where it doesn't sound like it's going to be feasible, which is too bad.
Yeah, we got some footage from Disc Golf Planet, the old or Terra Firma Media Group from John Dusler, and got some information based on where the course is. Those of you that remember, I couldn't remember the course at first, and then once I saw a couple highlights, I was like, oh yeah, that's right, that's the course that Paul Macbeth tore up.
That one.
That one course. And I do remember, like, the signal through the woods is awful, and it's a heavily wooded course. So Terry's right, and we are unfortunate that we are not going to be able to bring you Pittsburgh live. You will have the post-edited stuff from whomever, Joe Mez or CCDG or Prodigy or whomever does it.
Maybe even myself.
Or Terry Miller, the disc golf guy. So look for that in 2 weeks.
Yeah, so we just wanted to throw it out there that it's unfortunate. Everybody is on board looking to make it happen, and it's just something that probably won't, so that's too bad.
So on some more positive news.
How about that Trump? No, maybe not. No.
Do we have to disavow Nazis here?
In all fairness,
I mean,
here's where I'm gonna go for one quick second. Dana sent me something earlier today, and he said, I'd really like to, I was thinking about putting this out there, and he sent me as a well-written 3 or 4 paragraphs, and I'll just briefly summarize it. It basically said, there's no need for hate in this world. Let's love each other. Let's all get along, and let's grow and get better because of it. And he had a few more things in there, and then we talked about what that means to get political on the show and all this other stuff.
Yep.
The really quick snapshot is, let's all
just get along.
Love each other, a little bit more compassion. The only thing I was thinking today afterwards, the only thing you should really hate are bogeys and double bogeys or worse. That's about it. And if triple bogeys, then you just really effed up.
You can't even hate that. You have to hate yourself for that, because if you take a triple bogey, odds are it's on you.
You did something really wrong.
Yeah.
But
yes.
So anyway, that's where we'll leave it. And it was a good message, though. Let's get along and move on from there.
All right. So
pineapple on pizza. You love pineapple.
No, I've heard that from a couple people already today. Like, there are a few things you can hate: Nazis, fascists, and pineapple on pizza.
No,
and
that's so ridiculous.
I'm with you, even though my wife loves pineapple on pizza. I do not, though.
Yes.
I'm not a pineapple person. But let's get into some more positive news. The 2017 PDGA Innovation Grant winners. The PDGA created this innovation grant program to promote the awareness of the sport of disc golf and the Professional Disc Golf Association. So I think it's every year they give this away.
Or 6 months. It's either
every
once
6
or
months?
twice a year.
And this says round 1, so I'm thinking there's going to be a round 2 this year or later, early next year. So anyway, there are 10 grants that were given out to different programs, and I just wanted to recognize, just to go through and just quickly name them. I don't need to get into a big detail on some of them. I might go into a little bit of detail. So Josh Woods for a disc golf think tank, Mark Veracci for a tournament for tournament directors, and you can
Verocchi.
Is it Verocchi?
He does so much, that's why it was worth correcting.
Okay,
Mark is an amazing guy.
Mark Verocchi.
Yes, does a ton of stuff. Mark is one of the guys. When you see a head pop up out of like hole 5 or hole 14 at Vibram because someone's scuba diving, that's Mark.
Oh, that's Mark?
And he comes in from California now. And anyway, that's why I wanted to.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
If you want more details on this, you can go to the PDGA. It's out there. But I'm going to mess up this name, but Anthony Kochnauer from Illinois. He does a One Hope disc golf course. Dominic Shaner, self-worth and self-expression through disc golf. Zoe, our good friend Zoe Andike, Central Lynn Elementary, Middle, and High School equipment. Valerie Jenkins, friend of the show, women's disc golf instruction videos. Ingrid Harold from Homer, Kansas, the Homer Flex Disc Golf Activity Program. Charles Brown, the Denton Youth and Beginners Club. I'm going to say bulky, Introduction to Disc Golf to Special Olympics in the state of Missouri for their Special Olympics. John Reed, the Camp Sunshine Clinic, which is a camp for kids with cancer in Georgia. So this is your PDGA money going to these grants. So the next person that complains to me about where their PDGA money is going, I'm going to shove this in their mouth.
Yeah, print it out first.
Well, no, it's going to monitor. It's going to be a little tougher, but the whole monitor. So go out to the PDGA.com, look at these innovation grants, read them, learn what the PDGA is doing with some of your PDGA funds, and thank them. Reach out to these particular people and thank them either on social media or congratulate them for doing the sport of disc golf way more positive than probably most of us.
Correct. So, and a lot of people will say, are there I hear that all the time. Someone who sells equipment, works with schools, youth groups, church camps. I just got contacted by a veterans association. By all means, there are some things available. This PDGA innovation grant is one specific example. Now, of course, the programs are reviewed, they're voted upon or improved and scrutinized as they should be. Not just blindly throwing out money to anyone that asks for it. But usually, I feel like there's usually like 2 or 3. I think you read like 6 or 8 or 9 of them.
I believe there was 10.
10? Okay. Whatever the number was. I tuned you out like usual. But the point is there were a lot. And again, I think this takes place, if it's not annually, it may even be twice a year. And so there were 10 of them. I don't know if they all got the exact same amount, if they asked for specific amounts. I'm guessing each of them were at least probably $500. And it's being set on the board. Here is a great way, if somebody asks, what is the PDGA doing with my money? Where does it go? They don't do anything to grow disc golf. Any other insanely silly thing that you say, this is just one more example of things that are being done. So, yeah, great to bring it up. And funny enough, in Wisconsin specifically, we're familiar with this concept because we have the Disc Sports Development grant, and within Wisconsin, we do almost the exact same thing.
Correct.
There are player, we'll say taxes that are put on certain events, Wisconsin tour events throughout the year, and then at the end of the year, different clubs and organizations and groups actually then basically send us an application, and I think we've granted in Wisconsin somewhere around as soon as I say 23,000, it might be 32,000, somewhere in the $30,000 range over the last 10 or 15 years to all of these baskets, to all of the programs and groups and whatnot in Wisconsin, and that's called the Wisconsin Disc Sports Development Fund. So they're great. To take it a step further, we see Innova does something kind of along those lines where Innova has, your educational fund that you can then put into, and then that money gets spent within the state when you're working with Innova specifically. I know they have a program through Edge that kind of does that kind of thing. So get creative, talk to some people in your state, some of the main organizers, or reach out to your state coordinator. And if there's not something like this, maybe something can be done. We're $1 from every certain event, from every player comes in, and at the end of the year, when there's 2 or 3 or 10 grand, it could get divvied up to really good projects. So
yep.
I'm honored and proud that Wisconsin has generated that much money through the tournaments, and then has turned around and give it away to literally dozens and dozens of projects around the state, ranging from 2 and 3 hole beginner courses all the way up to 18 and 27 hole championship caliber courses. Money has gone anywhere along that spectrum. So good things taking place, and the PDGA is doing something along those lines as well. So awesome to see it.
Yeah, someone says that Edge is also on the smile.amazon.com if you want your Amazon purchases to help grow disc golf. And for those of you that don't know, you can sign up for every purchase you make through Amazon. You can kind of sign up for like a little charity, and a small portion goes to them So if you want to help, if you're a big Amazon user, you can help promote Edge Disc Golf as well.
And I'm not on eBay as much as I used to be, but I know there was. I thought Edge was also listed as a potential eBay recipient when you talk about possibly pledging money to certain organizations. I thought they were at one point listed in there. So yeah, lots of different ways you can go out and support disc golf. Or if you don't want to go through all that rigmarole, another good way to do it: buy a basket and 20 putters and drop it off at your kid's school, and their Phi Ed department will get it figured out, or offer to do a demo or a clinic, and you'd be surprised. Your wife being in the educational realm,
not anymore.
At one point, knows, and I've seen it in Wisconsin. And I know it varies from state to state, but it's been interesting going to
give it to a charter school.
Yep. And what I was just going to say, though, it's been interesting going to a annual physical education show that I've been attending now for 10 or 12 years, promoting disc golf. And when a teacher walks up to me and they say, "Oh, these look great. We'd love to have these. We throw regular frisbees into hula hoops on the ground." And then I say, "Okay." And they say, "Well, how much does one of these discs cost?" And $8-10, whatever. You want just one for every student, and then, how much one of these baskets, these portable ones, and you're like, $100 to $300, depending on which basket you're showing them, and they do the math, and that's $240, $100, $340, and they're like, so $350. Yeah, I have a budget for the whole year that's $200, and you're like,
sorry,
and you're just trying to give them one basket and a set of discs, so it goes a long way for sure. To go out there and donate or contribute to at some school level, a charter school, as Johnny's harking here.
I was just saying charter schools. Not that no school has a ton of money, and again, we're not trying to get political here. I just know that from my wife working at charter schools for the past 10 years, they tend to be smaller, usually a little more needy than the public schools. So if you can, find a good charter school and try to maybe give to them. If you're just going to go and give it to somebody like that. But whoever you give it to will be very happy. So just find someone worthy of it.
PDGA Innovation Grant, last thing on that then is there any info about like the next round or how to submit? It says, is there anything about how and when
it says
they'll
here,
take place again?
Yes, applicants who were not chosen this time. So if you are interested, you have a worthy cause, you can apply at thepdga.com, are encouraged to resubmit their applications for consideration in 2017. 10 additional grants will be awarded in mid-December of this year with an application deadline of December 1st.
There you go.
So the information, guidelines, and an application can be found on the PDGA Innovation Grants page, which there's a very long URL that I'm not going to read, but you can find it at thepdga.com.
Very cool. So make sure you go and check it out. Again, there's help out there. They're not just going to throw it away or throw it around, but read the criteria, submit a proposal, and you and your organization or cause may benefit. So good to see.
I'm thinking we need to change the podcast from a disc golf podcast to a pizza podcast, because the board has lit up on different types of pizzas and all the different styles and this and that. So
and nobody's even mentioned patronizing your famous pizza.
No,
joint
someone
either.
did mention. Someone said Johnny V's Pizzeria has the best pizza, and it does. And we never put pineapples on it. It's funny, we don't order them at Johnny V's Pizzeria. But
well, then you don't serve pizza.
One of my favorite pizzas was from right by UWM. It used to be called the Trattoria, but it's gone through a couple different names. But it was we always called it the Cal Trio, and it has cream cheese and sun-dried tomatoes and just different types of cheese. It's delicious. There's just clumps of it. And when my wife introduced me to it, I was like, there's no way I'm eating that. It's disgusting. But the first time I bit into it, oh my, oh my, oh my.
Oh, the things your wife taught you.
Tell me about it. So maybe we'll have a pizza after show.
Speaking of pizza, I'll follow that up. The other famous pizza joint that was UW Milwaukee native or specific. I guess Pizza Man you got to throw in there. But the one that was ordered to the dorms that everybody get when those people partook in drinking and being inebriated was Pizza Shuttle.
Yeah.
And a few weeks ago, I found myself on the east side of town, downtown Milwaukee. I was running some errands, doing some things, and I thought, you know what? It's been 20 years since, practically, since I had Pizza Shuttle. Let's try it. And I got a thin crust pizza, and I will go on record and say it was one of the better pizzas I've had ever, which surprised me because they weren't. I don't remember them being that good 18 years ago. All right, enough pizza talk.
You first of all, you were completely wrong for not ordering a calzone.
I know,
but
I know.
I'll give you the pizza. Fine, that's all I'm.
I know. All right, yeah. No, we're not really gonna switch entirely to a pizza podcast. I don't think that only goes so far.
Yeah.
Although Jack's Pizza is made right here in Wisconsin.
It is Jack's Pizza. If you're a fan of it, it's made up in right where we grew up,
Kaukauna area.
Kaukauna,
Green
Little
Bay?
Chute. I think it's
Somewhere
Little
around
Chute
there?
technically, but I've got a cousin that worked there or works there. I don't know.
All right. Do we have anything else in the news of things that we're seeing on the social medias, the Facebooks, the Twitters?
No, I think we've kind of covered everything as far as all the important issues of the day. From aces to engagements to pizzas.
It sounds like a pretty solid show. More than maybe they bargained for here tonight.
I guess, yeah. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with Smashbox. So
That's the best part.
I kind of want to go put a pizza in my pizza oven. I'm hungry
You
now.
definitely should. All right. Yes, a calzone is just a rolled up pizza with a different cheese.
It's got
Best calzones on the planet?
I like my pizza shuttle ones.
Euro Pizza. When you're at the Memorial and you're waiting and you're on hole 18 and it's filled with golfers, they have easily the top
Which
three
course?
over at Fountain Hills.
That's what I figured.
Easily top 3 for best calzones I've ever had. Lots of people like
They've
those.
got a smoothie place there that's pretty good too.
They do. All right. Will a Pizza Heiser? Oh, yeah, we should talk about the ace for the $13,000 car that took place at the Twin Falls Classic. I don't know any details about it.
I don't know anything about it.
I had heard. I saw a video, and I full disclaimer, it was on my phone, but I didn't see anything. I never saw the disc at any point. I don't watch a lot of video on my phone, and maybe I never got around to getting it on a computer. I never saw the disc. I think it was being recorded. I think at the last second you see it go into the basket, but and again, maybe we should pull it up, or I should pull it up and try and look at it on a computer.
No clue.
Somebody hit an ace. I didn't see the distance on there, but I also didn't do a lot of research for it. A good rule of thumb, and I think this is just a very generic rule of thumb, is try to put as much info right in the title and or in the video right away, because the first questions are always what hole, how far was it, and then usually it's followed up with what was thrown. And so if you can, try to just spell those things out right away, because otherwise your first 97 comments are going to be just replying to the same thing that says all of that. So if somebody I don't know if it was Central Coast that ultimately got it or if it was somewhere else. I don't think that it was Central Coast. No, because I think I saw Central Coast posting about it. I think that was Ben that posted about it. But yeah, somebody got an ace and I guess walked away with a $13,000 car.
Well, that's pretty awesome. I'll look it up.
We should get more details.
I'll look it up for the after show.
Okay. Seeing if you, sorry, I was looking at, because the car store did not want any Zoom or editing. Trenton had said that there wasn't any Zoom or editing when he was participating in a similar contest, and they said they didn't want any Zoom or editing. So very interesting to see. All right, the Disc Golf Pro Tour said Disc Golf Distribution Center was the YouTube page that shared it. So Johnny will look into it. We can have that for the after show. We also see that Paul Ulibarri is going to be joining us soon. Maybe he should just be our permanent after show co-host. Would that be a good way to word it? If he's going to keep coming back, that gives somebody a reason to actually listen to our horrible after show.
I love our after show. It's one of the highlights.
It's so funny that we do it because I feel like...
Well, let's talk about this in the after show.
Yeah, we can. We can talk about the misnomer that the after show is, in my opinion. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go ahead and call it for our regular show. Of course, sounds like there's some more action that's going to be coming up in a few minutes. We'll have Paul Ulibarri. He's going to be joining us. He can talk about the event that he won this last weekend. Maybe he knows more details about this ace and some other exciting stuff coming up as we're heading over into Kentucky for the Disc Golf Pro Tour in just a few days. I'll be heading out tomorrow, in fact. I'd like to thank Dana for joining us. Not so much his internet connection, but we'd love to thank Dana's efforts, at least, for giving us some news and updates around the disc golf world. Also, to Matt Krueger and Josh over at UDisc. Thank you, Matt, for joining us and sharing with us your labor of love. That is the UDisc app, and should be on everyone's phone, Android, Apple things, watches, whatever, all that other good stuff. So for Johnny V and myself, Terry Miller, the Disc Golf Guy, this has been podcast number 156. We're going to draw a winner in the after show, so make sure you stick around in just a few moments. We'll see you then when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the video credits. If you're interested in being listed as a producer on SmashBoxxTV's podcast, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Smashbox TV podcast 156 after show.
You have someone to thank.
I do. I told him once he gets regular, I'll thank him. No, but in all honesty, I do.
We don't want him regular.
I know.
We don't want a disc golf nerd every week.
We don't. Who does?
Oh God.
Let's be real. No, we do have to say thank you to Disc Golf Nerd. He had, in fact, provided us with a quick video review of the AVR 3 putt and approach disc by Innova. He provided that during our regular show. Please go out and check it out. He also does a more in-depth review of that disc, along with dozens or hundreds of other discs. So make sure you find him. Check him out. Disc Golf Nerd, thank you so much. We do appreciate every time you contribute with us. And I think it gives it varies up our show a little bit so everybody can know what's going on with some of the latest releases that are out there. And Johnny V and I've said it before, we're not much for review guys. We'd actually have to throw a Frisbee or a disc once in a while. We never get that opportunity. So we're here in the after show. Things are much looser. We're also going to be joined by none other than Paul Ulibarri again. Is this 3 weeks in a row?
He keeps winning. We keep having him.
And even if he doesn't, even when he's a loser, we take him. That's how we are at Smashbox. We talked in the show about loving everybody, and we do just that. So Paul Ulibarri will be joining us in just a few moments once we get him ready and tuned in and dialed up here on the Skypes. And if you've got anything for us, if you want to share or have clarifications, questions, you need to be mean or something, you can do that all on the YouTube chat board, which you can find on youtube.com/SmashBoxxTV/live, and go out there. There will be a giveaway. We also, speaking of giveaways, we also have a great giveaway for anyone that wants to go out and try the UDisc Pro version. You can do so. You download the app if you haven't done so already, and then type in the promo code SMASH, SMASH. Type that in, and that will give you a 1-month trial to all their super duper fancy features.
And whether they like it,
and then you'll be hooked.
And whether they like it or not, one of tonight's Patreon giveaways is going to be a 1-year subscription to UDisc
What
Pro.
if they already have one?
I don't know. Then maybe they can work it out with UDisc or share it with a friend or something along those lines. But yeah, UDisc was kind enough to say, hey, as part of your giveaway, we will give away a 1-year membership to UDisc Pro. So keep track of all your stuff in the cloud, online, whatever they do, all their magic. They are devils. They're demons that have some sort of awesome disc golf power.
Well, Chris Cobb is out on the board, one of our smashies and regulars. Chris is asking if the female pro open division plays shorter tees at Idlewild. Without looking, I'm going to guess yes, but I don't know that for a fact. That's something we could probably check out. UDisc, who's also on the board, may even know that. I'm guessing there will be at least a handful of holes, as that track is incredibly long and challenging. And as Steve Dodge talked about earlier in the year, we see that in terms of lining up some of the skill sets and the game and the style that gets played on the women's side, he's very much advocated for some shorter holes on particular holes, shorter tees.
Matt from UDisc says if you already have a 1-year subscription, he will extend it a free year. What? So you will have 2 years for the price of one. This is what Smashbox provides you.
Oh my gosh. So much good stuff. So go out and, again, check it out. Thanks to Matt and Josh over at UDisc. We appreciate that.
It's great.
What about Uli? Any updates from that guy?
I don't see him online. As soon as he gets online, we'll dial him up.
Okay. Let's talk about other random things. So here's my take. As we closed out the regular show, I was saying the after show to me, at least the way you presented it, year or two ago?
Yeah.
156 shows ago. Almost 3 years ago or so. I very much thought or assumed it would be an occasional and random thing. Certainly nothing that was planned. And now we've gotten to a point, and I don't want to call it quite an encore. I don't think we're there, but or maybe it's like a number of encores. Certain bands, they're going to come out for an encore, or they'll come out for another one, like how many they'll play. And I don't want to say our after show's like an encore, but I thought it would be more sporadic and random, and occasionally they actually wouldn't happen. But it seems like every
99
have we ever not had one?
99 out of 100 times I think we have one. So
okay, that's
and
all.
The reason why people stick around for our after show is because of our wonderful guests. People like Paul Ulibarri. Paul Ulibarri!
Yeah!
Congratulations on your win.
Keeping
Keeping that Smashbox bump going.
What's up, buddy?
You guys are excited. More excited than I am right now. I love that.
Come on now.
That's what I love about you too.
You just won an event. What's there not to be excited about? I've got a grand total of one of those under my belt. I'm still excited about it, and that was 15 years ago. No, 12 years, 10 years. 10 years ago. 10 years ago, right? We're on our 10th year anniversary.
Doubles weeklies don't count, John.
No, it was a singles event. I beat this schmuck over here.
Yes, and the 3 other people in the division.
There was 7 in the division. Okay. It was the dark side of the disc. We were going down to Chicago for your bachelor party, and so we played an Illinois event. It was just Terry and I. It was kind of our little private bachelor party where we said, let's go to Chicago and just go clubbing, have fun, dance, and whatnot. And before that, we decided we'd hit up an event, and I won.
Yeah,
So I got my one open event win.
Yeah, you remember it like it was yesterday.
I don't even
talks about it weekly.
I don't even remember the funny thing is I don't remember the course.
Blue stripes and
no, I was probably wearing
73 degrees.
a polo and a pair of wind pants because that was kind of my uniform for most disc golf events. But
dressed to kill out there.
But what course was that at? I never remember, to be honest.
That wasn't. I don't know.
Me neither.
Yeah, I forget.
I'm just happy I got one win under my belt. That's all I need.
Also happy. Ryan Pilcher says Smashbox and UDisc are awesome, and Ryan, you're awesome as you just were a
super chat.
A super chat contributor. So thank you, Ryan. Anytime you click on that little super chat button and make a contribution, we read what you have to say.
So as someone said on the board, you've been crushing it lately. What's different? What are you doing now, Uli, that you're able to focus and play at the level that you're playing at?
Yeah, man, I don't know. I've just been able to kind of focus on myself lately. Just really that, focus on myself. Really been working on some mental things that have been helping. I'm putting a lot better than I have in years past, so that obviously helps. With everything, it makes throwing so much easier when you're, confident enough that you're going to make it from 25, 30 feet. So, I mean, that's a big contributor. But, yeah, as golfers, I feel like we hit streaks like that, and then you just do your best. So I'm playing well right now, and I'm gonna ride it out as long as possible.
I'm going to go ahead and say your continued hot streak that you're on is clearly the real reason why Saki backed out this weekend. He's like, I'm not running into that freight train. That's Paul Ulibarri.
He was scared.
And he's like, okay, I quit. I give up. And so he's like, I'm not going to go there and try and take second to Uli.
Smart. It's a smart decision on his part.
For sure.
That's back-to-back tournaments where I kind of beat him.
Yeah.
And I hadn't beat him in 2 years prior to that.
Yeah.
But Ricky's a different kind of person, man. He's first or last for sure.
Uh-huh.
And he's doing what he has to do to get back on top, and you got to respect that about his game and stuff. So.
Yeah, interesting to see.
He's really scared. We'll go with that.
Okay, he's scared. Disc Golf Nerd is a super chat. Says, Uli, just say no to Anheuser putts. Talk a little bit of where your putting stroke is today and where it's going to be tomorrow and the day after.
No, man. I still do Anheuser putts once in a while. Like from longer distance and stuff. I've done it for so long that it's just kind of a natural little thing to do. But I've definitely flattened it out a little bit, and one of the big reasons was that I had a nagging injury for years, and it was easier for me to have a consistent release with an Anheuser putt. And I got some work done when I skipped the Masters Cup when I was back home, and I had some doctors look at my arm, and I did some work. I did some acupuncture and different things like that, and I don't know, I just went back to my old putt, and it worked right away after like 2 or 3 sessions with the doctor, and I've just kind of stuck with it. And so it was actually, I owe it all to me taking my first break in years and skipping the Masters Cup. And yeah, man, it's definitely worked out. So
no, and
I am putting with Kaiser right now inside the circle, and I try to do it from about 35 feet, and then I get outside of that, and I'm just more comfortable with the Annie still.
And it's awesome because with the various styles that you've had varying levels of success with over the last 5 or so years, on any given situation, you can really set yourself up to be more successful than most. And in that same breath, and he doesn't even have quite the arsenal you do, but a few weeks ago I saw Ricky Wysocki, switch up from his regular, we'll say loft putt or pitch putt, whatever you want to call it, to a flat-out spin putt. And you see him do that every once in a while, but you have 2 or 3 different putts on any given course or any given day that you can go into the bag and say, you know what, the wind is doing this.
I'm gonna miss with this one right now. I'm gonna do my best.
No, come on now, no more missing. But no, you have those options to you, where a lot of other people, Johnny included, you all of a sudden put him in a straddle putt and he's just lost, and so when you have all those different forms available, it just makes your game that much more solid and sound all around. So it's pretty cool to see. So what do you know about? Let's start with the Ace, because you were at that event, were you not? Correct? That's the one you won.
I was.
Okay, so let's start with the Ace, and then we'll get into all of your accolades. But let's start. What do you know about the Ace? How it went down? Describe the hole, the player, all that good stuff. Give us the details.
Sure. I didn't talk to the player, but I do know that the whole entire tournament had a chance at the Ace for the car, and for amateurs they got a shorter hole than we did as professionals. We had to throw, I think it was like right around 420 or something, and then their hole, it wasn't easy by any means. It was like, I don't exactly remember, probably right at 320 feet at the most.
Okay.
And the cool thing about it was he was the last person who even had a chance.
Wow.
To hit it.
No, I'm
he was
sorry.
The last throw on the basket, and he aced it. So.
And I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to see.
Man.
Was it from the long or the short tee that he
jar.
aced it? Did he get it from the long or the short tee? I couldn't tell by the video.
I wouldn't be able to say.
Okay.
It looked like the short tee?
That there was one tee pad on that hole.
Oh, okay. Well, awesome. Was there a name or I'm sorry, I didn't.
Oh, I just closed.
Johnny V was playing it so that you guys could see it. He was playing it for a little while, but it's out there.
I don't know I don't even know if I'd call what he won a car. That thing was so tiny. It looked like a bigger. You could put some backpack straps on that and drive it away and just carry it away. But no, that's awesome. It was a little tiny vehicle, but
like a little smart car.
Yeah, like a little smart car.
Yeah, it said on there that it was a $13,000 car.
Okay.
So.
Nonetheless, it's awesome.
It's a $13,000 car he didn't have before.
Yep. Very cool. All right. So break down the event. Dana didn't get into too many details for that event because we knew we'd be talking to you. Break it down, course, format, what you saw and how you conquered.
Yeah, no, it was a 4-round event, 2 different courses, and they first round or second round of each course they moved baskets. So it was pretty much a different course every time. Kind of a shorter layout the first day, and on both courses we swapped courses each round.
Okay.
So first day we played, I think it was Rock Creek. Second day we played the college course, or second round we played the college course, and then the same thing the next day. So the style of course it was short technical, OB, and both courses have like a running river that goes through the course. One's like more of a creek, but if you throw in that, it just takes your disc and it's gone.
Wow.
Like I lost one of my discs and on a hole, and then somebody found it like 5 holes later. It floated all the way down the whole entire creek. So.
That's funny.
So like every shot that I threw, I felt like the whole tournament I was living in fear of never getting my disc back.
Okay.
So I had to put in extra discs, and luckily my buddy DJ gave me some extra discs, and I threw his in the water, and so
like meh.
Maybe he'll get.
No big deal.
Good guy.
Yeah, thanks, DJ. Oh, you like this one? Yeah, it's down the river.
But the first day I played well. I actually played really well. The ratings were kind of low. I felt like from the place, but that's a given when you're playing a short course, and I think there was only 3,000 rated players at the event, so you're gonna have lower ratings. But yeah, the first day I played really well. First round I had a 1-stroke lead. I went into the second round and played extremely well. I shot a 13 down with a bogey.
Okay.
I think at one point I had like 10 twos in a row.
Wow. And
so I played pretty good. And then the second day we went to one of the courses, and I just didn't have it. I was a little off with my putting. I was a little off with my shots. I threw it OB a few times, and there's this kid Mason, and he played really well, really, really well. Had an amazing overhand game. I think he had something like 8 overhand birdies or something ridiculous. Like I'm talking big germ distance with the thumber, and he was doing both thumber and tomahawk. So
wow,
couldn't get any reads off of his shots.
Yeah,
he was playing a completely different course than us, but he was playing well. He was in the zone, making some good putts, and he got 5 strokes on me that round.
Yeah, because you shot a 959 rated round in round 3 to what ended up being falling back by 1 stroke going into the final round.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and those, like I said, those ratings are low. I feel like if everybody was there and it was like a pro tour or something, then I probably would have shot a 990 to 1,000 rated round right there. They were that low.
Wow.
It's hard to accept that you shoot a 960 round when you shoot in the 40s, especially with some holes there where you just can't possibly get. So if you were to play a perfect round like 18 under at the course, you're only looking at a 9 or 1,070 rated round, and that's just not real.
Okay.
So yeah, that kid played really good. We went to the final round, and luckily for me, the other layout went really long, and it got pretty windy. And he actually had the lead after the first 7 holes, I think.
And then you hunted him down, and he blew out his shoulder.
I kind of ended up one away at the end.
Okay. Oh, it's awesome. You took home $1,705 for your efforts. Mason, who's 950 rated, PDGA number 84401, so it's certainly a newcomer in terms of the PDGA scene.
It was his first tournament.
Wow.
As a professional. well, his first open tournament.
We should let him know not to get too used to it with a $1,100 payout. And
he had the highest
finish.
PDGA number in the division. Yeah.
Wow.
It was his first open event.
Okay, yeah, he's had a lot of success. Second and third place pretty much almost every event he played in this year in the advanced division. So as you said, yeah, moved into the open division, finishes second, and takes home $1,100. That's a solid weekend for 10:30.
Sorry about that.
No, you're good. So where are you at now? I guess that has to be my next question.
Yeah, we're in Kentucky. Ben and his son Zach, they played an event with Zach Melton this weekend. And they've accepted a bunch of people into their house, and they're putting some people up. So shout out to them. Yeah, I'm here. That's where I'm at right now. I just got in maybe 20 minutes ago.
Okay.
From my 28-hour drive from Idaho.
That's insane. So obviously you didn't get to the course. Have you played this course in the past? And if so, do you have any insights? No? Okay. So tomorrow you'll be out there getting it all dialed in.
Yes. I'll be out there pretty early tomorrow, I think.
Do you feel pretty confident, having not played the course, only getting really 1 day of practice in? Do you feel pretty confident out there?
What helps is I've heard from a lot of people that it's a really difficult course. And so that, when it's a good, difficult course, long, you don't need to practice as much, I feel like. You don't need the distances. You don't need stuff like that. I feel like I need more practice on the shorter courses, like the deuce or die type courses, because they're kind of must-gets. And so I'm hoping that's the case for this weekend. But I'm playing well. I feel like if I get a round in of practice and then maybe, go find a couple holes I need to work on, I think that'll be enough for sure.
Okay.
And especially a wooded course where basically the fairway is already carved out for you. There's not a lot. There's not a lot of options. You know where you're trying to throw it. You just need to keep it between the trees.
Right.
Will you focus on just, of course, with the event starting the following day, will you focus on getting out there, just seeing the course once through? I know like a Ricky or a Nico may say, oh, I'm going to go, I only got 1 day. I better go play it 2 or 3 times. Will you just focus on getting through it once and seeing it all at once?
Yeah, there's a lot of times where I only play the course once or something like that. But that, like you said, that has a lot to do with I've probably played most of the courses before. So one time through, and then I'll probably be ready. This is a course I've never seen before. But from what I've heard, it's awesome. And if it's as good of a course as people are saying, then it's probably a well-designed course, and I shouldn't have a problem dialing it in a round. Or, like I said, if there's holes where I feel like I'll have trouble with, I'll definitely go back out and practice those shots or something.
And if you haven't heard, I think we already announced or talked about your card mates. Did you take a look, or did you hear who you're playing with?
Yeah, on the way here, Drew told me that I was playing with, oh my gosh, did I forget already?
Barsby.
James Conrad.
Yep, James Conrad, Greg Barsby, and
Barsby,
Coling.
Yep.
And that Coling character.
Yep. Right. Coling. He's not in Europe?
Apparently he's coming back.
Maybe, if he finds his way here.
I mean, he got an ace there on film, so maybe it feels like he never needs to leave or something. Or he could bring some of that good luck back here.
Oh, my God.
Then weekend following that, I mean, we talk about it a lot with a lot of our players. I mean, this is a real grind coming up for the next few weeks with here, Pittsburgh, Vibram, Nantucket, Green Mountain Championships. This is a grind over these next 5 or 6 weeks, more so than normal. This is all high-level golf, lots of stakes, lots of points on the line, titles, all that stuff. How are you mentally geared up for that?
Yeah, I think I'm ready. I think, like you said, everybody's going to have to deal with it. So it's not like, even Ricky's taking a weekend off to try and get that little edge. You can tell going into the national tour and stuff. So everybody besides Ricky is going to have to deal with it. We're all playing, every weekend until then. So this is what we do. I don't think there's extra pressure or anything like that. Like we go into each week wanting to compete and play as well as we can. And I'm definitely used to it. I mean, I play every weekend, so I feel like even going into the last or this really compact section of the year, I feel like I even might have an advantage because I'm used to playing all these events in a row.
Another thing that we see occasionally is good old Alan Stewart on the bag. Is he scheduled, or do you have him penciled in for any of the caddy duties for any of that stretch?
We've talked about the USDGC, but he just caddied at the Ledgestone and did an awesome job there. He has a job and a family and stuff, so he gets out for 3 to 4 big tournaments a year. And I wish I could have him more often. He's a really good friend of mine and a great caddy, but I think USDGC will probably be his next stop if he even is able to get out for that one.
Okay. I mean, you show him enough money, he'll show up anywhere. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
Caddy dollars.
The big discussion right now on the web board is, Paul, what's your favorite type of pizza?
Wow, I must be very interesting.
No, we had a really big discussion about pizzas before the after show started, and so everyone's curious as to what do you put on your pizza? Like if you go out for a nice
anything you want. This pizza is yours and only yours. You don't have to share it or split it with anyone.
Thin crust always, the thinner the better.
Okay.
Thin crust pizza, pepperoni. And then once in a while, I'll go pepperoni pineapple.
I'm
straight.
Nice. I like it. We could share one then, buddy. All right. I like that. And then do you ever go ham, go the full Canadian with like ham and
I don't
Hawaiian?
do that, actually.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll go instead of the pineapple. If I'm in the mood, I'll go jalapeno with it. But I'm always pepperoni.
Pepperoni. I'm good with you on pepperoni. I can't deal with the rest.
Oh, I love pineapple.
And then if I'm really crazy, I'll put a little tomato spinach pepperoni. But it's just always pepperoni.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Uli, I think you and I need to get some pizzas more often than jalapenos. I'm good with. I love.
I think you probably gonna be okay.
Yeah. Good.
Terry doesn't need the pizza, but if Terry does bring if you guys at Idlewild, Terry will be down there.
Salads? What is our favorite salad?
If
What are you trying to say? I love pizza salad. All right, damn it.
Paul, if you want, I'll authorize it. Smashbox will buy you a pizza at Idlewild if you want to go out to dinner with Terry.
There you go.
And split a pizza. It's on.
Or you could have a piece, and I'll eat the rest. Jerk.
Split a pie with Terry.
Caesar, by the way, is the right answer. If I go salad, chicken
Caesar salad.
Chicken
Caesar. You gotta go Caesar salad.
That's where you go.
Best.
We'll find.
I go garden salad with a little chicken, ranch on the side.
All right.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
Are there any mellow mushrooms down there? That's another question that needs to be asked. Definitely some of the best pizza in the world.
Mellow mushroom, I go wings. I don't even go pizza.
What? They have so much good food there.
They're the best wings I've ever had in my life. They don't fry them. They roast them. Oven roasted wings. They're really good. You should try them next time. Since you're a mellow mushroom guy, apparently.
Not as much as Miles Parkhill over at Paragon. He lives and dies by them. But I'm currently looking up where the closest ones are, pal, because sounds like you and I might have dinner plans.
What's your guilty pleasure restaurant to go to? Like if you're driving and you're thinking you're at
I just won the Twin Falls Classic.
I want to go to one restaurant. What is it?
I eat Chipotle probably 3 to 4 times a week.
But is that that's like your everyday go-to?
I feel guilty every time I do it.
There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with it.
If it means anything to you, I was just announcing how much I was unimpressed with Chipotle tonight, but that's another story.
Qdoba's better. We all agree here in Wisconsin. But is that like your choice? Like you have the choice to go to any restaurant in the country. You've just won whatever event is in whatever city. You're thinking,
yep, money's not an issue. Calories aren't an issue. You're just thinking, is your choice?
I want to sit down and have my favorite restaurant meal. Where are you going?
Huh. I love Mexican food, man. I'd go to somewhere and eat a good Mexican food with a margarita or something. That's probably what I'd do.
All right. Next time you're in Milwaukee, we'll take you to a good Mexican restaurant. We got 2 or 3 of them here in town that are just phenomenal. So,
I'm in. I am in.
Me too. Chicken enchilada. That's my Mexican food right there. That's usually what I get. Whatever you want on it, just chicken enchilada, some beans and rice, some refried beans. Just great.
Really outside the box there.
Oh well. With Mexican,
yeah, really
Mexican food, there's like 5 ingredients. They mix it different ways. It's like,
that's true.
You got your protein. You can either go guac or mole, the different type of sauce, and how you want to wrap it together. Throw in some diced tomatoes. There's really not a lot of.
Yeah, it's literally the same meal. You just have a different shaped
presentation.
Tortilla.
Exactly.
Presentation to it.
So don't give me any of their lip over there, Miller.
All right, no mellow mushroom. The closest one's Bowling Green. We'll find another one, buddy.
All right, man.
What else you got for us, Yuli? It sounds like you had a good weekend, a long drive. A lot of people saw your post. I saw your post during that very long drive. You were kind of giving a little bit of a insightful tip out there, talking about your mentality on the course. Kind of, you want to refresh or give everyone a little prelude to that if they went out and found your video?
Yeah, no, I had mentioned last week that I'd kind of taken a little hiatus from social media, and I wanted to get back on there and maybe do something, not really a blog, just kind of like a tips segment or kind of let people know, at the time what's helping me. So I posted my first video, and it was about what I was practicing mentally over the last few weeks and how it helped me and things like that. And then today I actually posted another one after playing this weekend about how you can, deal with different situations on your card mates, just kind of how to get through the process of, playing in a tournament or even casually or, kind of, there's multiple times where we play with people we might not like or might not, necessarily play well with, and kind of how I get through that and some tips on that. So yeah, if you want to check that out, it's on my Facebook profile, front page right there. Like it, share it if it helps you. And I'm going to try and do one a week for one more week. No, just kidding. For as long as I can.
Let's see if you can.
I have topics to talk about and stuff. I'd like to do that.
I was gonna say we can see if we can make it last longer than 2 pros and an average schmo, or how many episodes. So,
when's that starting back up?
I don't know. Germ was in Europe forever, and we don't really like Brady anymore.
Okay, fair enough. That took longer than I thought it would.
Nobody blames you. Nobody blames you.
We're
okay.
Looking for another average Joe out there.
Huh. Okay.
Terry, what are you doing?
Sure, let's do it. I'm on board. Make it happen.
The problem is you're not an average Joe.
Oh.
Nope, you're no average Joe.
I
You're no
try to
average
be.
Joe.
Do you have anything else, Yuli? In our after show, we've talked about a lot of random topics. Is there anything else unrelated to disc golf that's going on these days? Anything you're seeing in the sports world? We've covered the food thing pretty well. Anything in the sports world? Do you care about? We're not too far away from this Mayweather fight that's taking place with that Irish gentleman, that Conor McGregor guy.
Conor's gonna get his butt kicked.
Okay.
He's going to get his butt kicked. But everybody knows that. Really, the important thing to talk about is the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're going to destroy this year. Another thing is I'm going to destroy in all my fantasy leagues. Nobody's going to even have a chance.
Okay. Except for the ones I compete
that.
against you in.
Yeah, no, I'm like unbeatable. It's crazy. I lost, I think, 2 last year, and that was really embarrassing, and that won't ever happen again. So.
Okay.
That's gonna happen.
Knowing, I'll just to follow that up, one more thought, because I actually saw a billboard near my house today for it. Knowing the McGregor Mayweather fight takes place, I believe the Saturday night, next Saturday night, I believe it is, during the Pittsburgh Flying Disc Open. Actually, will you seek it out? Will you try and get to a BW3s or someone's house or whatever? Will you do something to seek it out to actually see the event?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a big enough fight to where I will find a way to watch it. I mean, they're getting paid so much money, and I just want to see Conor get knocked out. I want to see either one. I hope one of them just career ender. Just
wow.
Boom. I'm sick of seeing them talk trash, man. It's just like over and over and over again. No, I don't want to see them end their career, of course, but I want to see. I just don't think that Conor's going to have a chance. I think Mayweather is the best boxer ever to live. I think he's proved that. I think that you're taking, Conor, who is a very skilled fighter in the UFC and all of his martial arts and everything, and you're putting pads on something, that he's trained for his whole life, and you're putting him up against the best in the world, and he can't use his feet. He can't take him to the ground. I mean, I think it's just going to be. I don't even think it's fair.
Okay, fair enough. I can't say I'm a diehard either boxing or MMA fighter, MMA, follower to, I feel like have too much logical input, but it has been interesting from the spectacle that it's created from a media. I watched them when they went on 2 or 3 consecutive days of having their pressers. And it was entertaining, to say the least, to listen to, especially McGregor. I mean, if there's one way he for sure beats him, it's in trash talking. That's for sure. I think he's one of the best out there, and he's cold-hearted and ruthless. And they're putting on a little bit of a show, and they're hyping it up, and they're doing what they have to do. So
sure.
Who knows how much of that is just playing into the overall madness, but.
Much.
It's as you said, even from someone who's on the fringe, I'll be interested to see how it all goes down.
There's no way McGregor wins.
Okay, yeah,
that's my thought, because you're right. You're taking away most of his skills, just leaving him with his hands, and I think that Mayweather is
putting big old pads on him.
Yeah, and putting big old pads on him,
and then telling you to go up against the best boxer of all time.
Yeah, arguably, yeah, and it's. There's now what's going to happen is they're going to do a boxing one. McGregor's going to lose, and in a year and a half they're going to do another one where my guess is that they open it up a little bit to possibly open it up to other things. But I don't know if Mayweather would do that.
Mayweather is a smart businessman. He will never fight McGregor unless it's in the boxing ring. He won't ever do it.
Yeah.
And he might not ever fight again after this fight.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it if this is just his last big payday. And
yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds. Again, I think to me the like the Super Bowl, like so many other big events, sometimes I'm not as emotionally invested in the details of the actual players or the teams or the them squaring off as much as I am now from the media side. We talked earlier about how Terry Roddy showed a picture of 18 semi trucks that were just CBS's component to covering the PGA championships, and then I think about how sometimes I might show up in a a beat up Honda Element with one other camera guy, and we're like, all right, SmashBoxx is here. It's we're on different levels.
Do this.
We got this.
We're on different levels, but it's all nonetheless.
How much would it cost for you to fight Mayweather?
Not much. Not much, I bet you.
No, I'd take a payday.
Yeah, I bet you if I said, Terry, $50,000, you get in there with Mayweather, and you can't run away.
Yeah, clearly he one punch.
You're done.
Is all it takes.
Yeah,
I'm not an idiot.
Run away
I know.
talking about.
I'm surprisingly quick for my size, but not quick enough. Anyway, one punch is clearly all it's going to take. The question is, how much is that paycheck worth for the potential brain damage, like legitimate brain damage from one
I think what would
landed
happen.
punch.
Hitting him, right?
Yeah, that's it.
You just keep your hands up, and when he punches you in your hand and you knock yourself out, you're done.
That's the best case scenario.
That's your best case scenario right there.
Like, I'll put them both up and be like, just hit my gloves. That is legitimately the best case scenario that could happen for me.
Because I mean, not that Mayweather hits light, but if I had to take a choice, I'd take Mayweather over Tyson in his prime.
Oh yeah,
because Tyson was just a beast.
Yeah,
and maybe it's a little hindsight, the fact that he was the monster growing up when we were younger. But
how much, Terry? How much?
What's the minimum I would take?
Everybody has a number.
Now, is this is public? This is seen. This isn't like go to the gym. I don't know if I'd care about I wouldn't care about the public humility, I suppose, because everyone. Gosh. I feel like a cheap whore when I'd say 10,000, but
yeah, that's a little cheap.
I'd get punched for 10 grand.
Oh, but just like flat out, just knocked out.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to almost die for 10 grand though. All right.
Oh, how about this?
I think 50 is a good number.
That's what I figured. Like
50 is a good number.
Let's just say 50 grand. He punches you as hard as he can. Let's just pretend you're guaranteed not to have any sort of brain damage, but just knocks you out cold.
Oh,
50 grand?
Oh, I'd take it for less then. As long as I would take it for less if
you're guaranteed not to have
somehow
permanent
no
injury.
permanent injury, and I was just flat out knocked out. I don't care. I'd do that for 25
bucks. 25.
No, 25 grand. Yeah, 25 grand. That's all it'd take. How much would you have a professional playing career ahead of you yet, though? So it's not quite a fair question to you. But just for giggles, what would the number be for you, Uli?
To fight Mayweather?
Yeah, to get in the ring and
just basically
do whatever you want.
Yeah, sure. Call it fighting.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, AKA getting your head knocked off, probably for one round and not getting up.
I would probably do it for 10 grand.
Okay.
I'd probably go in 10 grand.
See, I think that's a little too. That's not enough, I think.
But yeah, but against him, like he's so rich that 10 grand's nothing. So you could get so much more. But if it was like,
I mean, I guess
he's like, I'll do it for 10 grand. Yeah, I'd probably go in there.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if he said, hey, I'll give you 10 grand to just knock you out with a glove, I guess I couldn't pass that up. Like, all right, don't kill me, please.
Yeah.
Like,
Dan Harbeck on the show or whatever.
Let's say 20 grand. Let's say 20 grand because he would just hurt me really bad.
Yeah. Well, that's
the goal.
Who
Is
knows what the bills would be? So let's say 20.
Yeah. Hope you can maybe just absorb some of the punch a little bit and not die.
Something tells me you're not. Something tells me you're standing there and you're taking it whether you're ready or not.
Well, yeah.
Speaking of injuries, today my unrelated, I was getting gas and getting some other stuff, and all of a sudden my daughter, I'll say the tougher daughter of my two, I have one very tough
Kenzie,
and one not so tough daughter, 8 and 6. and she's just standing in front of me at the gas station crying, and I look down and her foot is all blood. And sure enough, when she went into the bathroom, she pulled the regular, to get into the women's room, she pulled the bathroom door open, and somehow the bottom of the door caught her toe and like ripped it open. And I swear, a wonderful woman named Becca, like out of nowhere, grabbed a first aid kit out of her car, and we bandaged it all up, and I was looking at it and assessing it. And then I finally went up to the clerks. I'm like, by the way, you might want to clean up the blood that's back there by the like the employees. I love Quick Trip gas stations.
Yeah, good gas stations.
Out of Eau Claire, Wisconsin. They honestly are a great organization and place to work and everything else, it seems like. But they just did not care at this gas station I frequent every day almost. I was like, yeah, there's blood over there. You might, and no incident report, nothing. Like,
oh well.
Anyway, really what I'm getting at is this is a long-winded way of saying I'm going to be suing eventually.
You're going to go there.
There's got to be a payday somewhere.
Measure the door from the floor and look at me like, oh, there's X amount of space and regulation.
Doesn't adhere.
Oh, Jesus.
Terry just like opens the door on his face. Bam.
Yeah.
Yes.
Whoops.
Sue job.
It's going to be. In other unrelated news, since we have you, Yuli, when's the last time you, if ever, have head to toe, front to back, painted a room? Living room, dining room, bedroom, basement?
Man, I have painted before, for sure. Probably when I was a kid. You know, when I moved to Oregon when I was really young, and then we moved back to Sholo. Mm-hmm. And I remember painting, but I probably really half-assed it, sorry, Mom.
Sure.
And they probably took over. I mean, if we're
Okay.
being honest. So
No, yeah. Okay.
I might have taken the credit for it, but my brother probably did it.
Okay. Well, and I asked because Johnny V and I have had the conversation throughout the week. I, after returning from the Grand Rapids divisional doubles on Saturday, it was brought up within the household. Hey, let's paint, which is what we said 9 years ago when we moved in. Is we got to get rid of this ugly yellow that's in our living room. And I took on the task of painting a very large room, and I learned every noob mistake, or learned by every possible rookie mistake, and it was genuinely unpleasant. And yeah, there's YouTube, and there's ways to go out and probably get some tips and tricks. Till you fight through it, it sucked. So that's how my last few days went. What I'm also getting at is that you're going to see some edited footage come out in the next couple of days of the divisional doubles.
Of Terry painting.
But
be great.
That was delayed due to a really nasty painting project, and I don't wish it on anybody.
I always think this. So, Yuli, when you go home, and I know you live in Arizona, do you guys have a front yard, like a lawn, or is it just stones where you live?
Where I grew up, I actually was lucky enough to have a nice lawn. But recently, it's been apartments or probably stone for sure.
Yeah, I kind of think of this when we talk to a lot of the pros. Like, when was the last time you mowed a lawn, or when was the last time whether you go home and help mom out, or volunteer, you take over your brother or whatever. But I kind of think of this like when talking about Will Schustrick, who I think he owns a house now, and like he's out on the road. And I think like, oh, it's nice. Like come home, and you have all this house stuff to do now, and just for because all you pros are looking for the quote unquote a bigger payday, so you can do real luxury things like own a home and have all this stuff for yourself, a car and this and that. And I just think like, hey, it's not as fun as you think, but all that stuff just adds more work in the long run. And I just think of those things when you guys are out pushing and trying to make money.
Yeah, do you miss like well, you probably didn't do too much shoveling snow. Shoveling snow.
I definitely shoveled snow.
Okay.
That's one thing that I definitely did.
And would you take up gardening if you had the big enough backyard for it, and mowing lawns and all of that kind of stuff? Are you excited about that stage of your career or your life?
I really am. I think for sure when I own my own house and stuff, and obviously that's something that I want in the future. But I definitely want a nice lawn. I'll have a nice lawn, I should say, for sure. Gardening, I don't know about gardening. I mean,
okay, fair enough.
Yeah, I'm
probably not. But I mean, a lawn is as close to a garden as I'm probably gonna have.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, these are some of the things I think of, like you guys making enough money to do, you know, hopefully whatever you want to do when you're done playing the sport, and having all these things. Do you miss the monotony of everyday life? Do you miss, you know, I think of a Macbeth who now is engaged and at some point will get married, owns a home, and, you know, who takes care of that stuff. And when he goes home, does Paul think like, oh man, I gotta mow the lawn? Like, like, geez, like seriously, it hasn't been mowed in a week and a half. Whoever X, Y, and Z was supposed to do it. I just get a kick out of thinking I could drive down the road one day and see Ulibarri or Macbeth or Coling just mowing a lawn. I just get there's something funny about the monotony of everyday life that you guys don't see that a lot of golfers do, that ones who aren't out on tour.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've never had that normal, you know, lifestyle. I've been on the road since I moved out of my parents' house. So, what is it? Almost 12 straight years now. So,
wow.
Yeah, I've been kind of different places every time. You know, my off season's 3 to 4 months at the most, and so, in those 3 months, you know, I'm probably practicing and working out and doing stuff like that. So yeah, I've never had that.
Yeah, and that leads me to my next question is, again, playing the what if game. What if financially there was no concern whatsoever, and you were like, okay, I'm ready tomorrow to go purchase a home, and it could be literally any state you want. I know you have your family and ties, and not family ties, but family ties back to Arizona, Michael J. Fox and
yeah,
the Keatons.
Everyone gets it.
Anyway, where would you purchase? Where would you buy if tomorrow money was no issue whatsoever? Where would you go purchase a home?
Scottsdale. I would definitely buy something in Scottsdale.
Okay.
Probably pretty close to, you know, Vista, and that's where I'm comfortable. That's where I want to live eventually, for sure. So, that's definitely where I'd go.
What would be your second choice of state? Is it just the warmth there, and your family ties, or is your second choice like Massachusetts or somewhere else totally different?
Close, I don't think.
Okay.
I've really enjoyed St. Paul.
Okay.
Minnesota. You know, Nashville. I really enjoyed Nashville. Carolina would probably be number 2, like Charlotte, something like that.
Yeah.
I think.
Decent weather, even in the winter. Lots of good golf community, lots of good courses, and a solid disc golf scene. I mean, every place you just mentioned fits that. Well, I guess Minnesota's wintertime golf is a different beast. I don't think you're excited about that, but yeah, they're all solid disc golf communities, which also makes perfect sense. All right, Uli. Well, I think we got what we need out of you for now. We'll have more random questions. Oh yeah, we have also Uli's picks. Sorry. Yeah, we got to get some picks.
I was gonna say, do you have any? Were you able to make your picks, or do you have some general ideas on?
I haven't made my picks yet,
okay.
but I could go with what I'm thinking.
Okay, let's.
I should probably log in and do mine, huh?
Yeah.
I'm thinking myself.
Yep.
Macbeth, Coling, Barsby.
Okay.
Paige, Katrina. I don't know what the salary's looking like, but
something tells me that seems
over.
Yeah, that's going to be over the salary, but I understand what you're saying. Like for me, I did some picks and I used.
I heard it's a lefty-friendly course.
Okay, good.
So that's why I'm thinking that.
Oh, that's
maybe even a Zach Melton.
That's good because I'm looking at my picks. I've got Paul and Paul, Zach Melton, and then I threw Dutch Napier in there because Batman. It's closer to home for him, and in general, for salary reasons, it worked out. And then I had Paige and Jessica Weiss in order to make the salary work like that. So I think that's I like.
I was thinking about Jessica Weiss too. She, I've been hearing. Well, I heard from Macbeth today. I asked him how the course was in a text, and he said that it was sidearm friendly. And I said, short sidearms with a smiley face, hoping that was the case. And he said no. So sounds like maybe lefty friendly, but who knows?
Yeah. What does Macbeth know?
Who knows, man?
Yeah. What does that guy know?
But guys, I'm gonna hit the sack, man. I'm getting pretty tired. And
that's cool.
All right, buddy. Well, we will. I'll see you possibly in person tomorrow night.
Did you guys make your picks, or were we doing that just now?
I made those are my picks in general. Okay. So go ahead and make your picks, whatever you want. And we'll
Terry, go through yours real quick.
I honestly hadn't looked at it. No, I hadn't looked at it too much. I know I was gonna definitely have Paul up there. Outside of that, yeah, exactly. Awkward.
Well, and I went with the hot hands.
I really appreciate that. That's smart.
Yeah. No, I mean definitely Paul is in my top 4 every week. Duh.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't Paul be there? No, more than likely I saw Macbeth and yourself. I'm going to take a look at how the women's, ratings and attendance, play out. Of course, I want to play the ratings game to secure as many points as possible. Jessica is a great pickup for anyone to have. She's going to finish in the top few slots somewhere, if not win it. I mean, she's definitely going to be up there, and you might get a little bit of a buffer there from what you see versus her rating versus Paige's, which I'm guessing is probably 10 or 15 points difference
at least,
roughly. Yeah. So that's gonna definitely would be a quote unquote value pick. On the men's side, yeah, I wanted to double check. Is Max Nichols? I think he's planning on being there. He might be.
I haven't looked at the list at all. Really.
Yeah, he might be a solid pickup as well, and I was going to confirm him.
A Max or an Austin.
Yeah, obviously an Austin Turner would be a good one. I was going to see what Coling's rating was.
1026.
Again, right? Sometimes it's all about picking those values. I'll say this: with taking Ricky out of the mix, it potentially allows a lot more people to massage and maneuver around. If you're taking Paul and Ricky, now you're going to save yourself another 10 or 15 points by not having Ricky in the mix.
25, 30.
Yeah, it allows for a lot more things. So I'm guessing within the next 10 or 15 minutes I'll have them actually all secured. So I can't say that I have them right now, but I'll get it figured out.
Awesome.
And look forward to, like I said, we'll see you either tomorrow or come Thursday on that second to last card of the day.
Yeah, man.
All right, pal. Sounds good.
Thanks for having me again, guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, pal. Thanks a lot. Have a great night.
Keep up the hot shooting.
Later.
Later. Again, Paul Ulibarri joining us for, was that our 3rd consecutive week of having him?
It might be. It might be a record.
Oh, great. We'll take him every night. Like I said, if it works out that maybe he becomes our permanent after-show co-host even, that would be a good way to always make sure we get him worked in there. So, again, thanks to Paul for joining us, and looking forward to this weekend. There's some chatter on the board talking about looks like some of the women conversation regarding the picks. Dan Harbeck says Weiss rules.
Well, if it's a lefty-friendly course, as he says, I think Weiss is a pretty solid pick, having a good forehand. She's a hot pick in that she just finished tied for first at the Ledgestone. And you've got Uli, who's on a hot streak, Macbeth, who's been playing pretty well, as far as my picks, and Melton, who's a lefty. Mm-hmm. Now, you can swap Melton out with, I don't know if he's there, but like a Devin Owens or an Austin Turner. You've got like that. Lisa Fakis could be a good pick in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
She's a very solid thrower, but I do like my particular lineup right now.
I'm not going to tell everybody, but I think I'm going to fit James Conrad in there. Whoops, just did. James Conrad clearly has proven he is not only a long thrower but a very accurate.
Yeah, he throws
thrower.
that AVR,
and he might be a really, really solid pickup to have in that He's a good pickup anywhere, but I think he might be a really good pickup with that style of golf that's going to be played. So those are some options out there. So go out, get your picks in. Of course, you can find those on the Fantasy Disc Golf website, which is skipace.com, SKIPACE.com, skipace.com. Go out there, get your picks in, and participate and play along. All right, what else is on the board? Max Nichols is not listed. Matthew Blakely, again, if Matthew plays anything like I saw him play at the Red, White, and Boom, he's had game forever. He's just not on the national touring scene like he was way back in yesteryear. He was definitely more of a regular all around the country and at bigger events, and now just not as much. So if you have the insight there, which he might be a good pickup as well for sure.
Let's do our Patreon giveaway.
Sure.
We'll line that up before we call it a night.
Some stuff from UDisc. Is that what I heard?
We have UDisc, and is there anything else? Did you have anything?
I could give away some stuff that I could certainly round up, but I didn't bring anything in to show anyone, but we could certainly give something away.
So we'll give away a 1-year subscription to UDisc Pro, and we'll also give away a disc.
Will it be two separate? Is the same giveaway to one person?
One person. Okay. One person's going to get it all.
Perfect.
They're going to get it all.
Perfect.
So we have 152.
How about, since you're getting one of those, how about then I'll also throw in, it will be
an iPhone.
Crystal, a Crystal Mini Buzz that is one of the Sky PA Mini Buzzes, which only I think 100 were produced from when Nate and Val did their collaboration beer here in Wisconsin a few months ago.
Awesome.
And I'll throw that. I'll put that in the mail and send it out.
Okay. I am sorting by first name this time.
Ooh, we get crazy.
Get swifty. All right. So, 152. I'm going to hit generate. I don't think it's going to be 152 like last week was 151.
Crazy.
It is 54. So 54.
Number 54
is Jason Haas. Congratulations, Jason Haas.
Oh, how fitting.
Out of Idaho.
Mm-hmm.
You know Jason?
I think we've talked to Jason at one time or another.
I think we have. So congratulations, Jason. Your stuff will be in the mail sometime after this weekend, after Terry does whatever he's doing. And we'll work with UDisc as far as getting you a promo code for your 1-year subscription. So thanks for being a patron. Again, if you want to be eligible for this giveaway, you can sign up at patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV, and just $1. That's all it takes. $1 a month, and you will be entered in for our weekly drawing.
What? Free stuff. So every week we give away stuff, and it has ranged anywhere from, I think one of these weeks we're going to have a really big one, so you may want to tell your friends to not get on board. No. We're going to have a really big one. We have some friends and supporters over at Keen Footwear. They've supported me personally for a number of years now. They support a number of our top players. We see Nate and Val and Paige and a bunch of our top players wearing Keen Footwear, and they support disc golf a lot more than probably most even realize. So I will have a certificate once I find them, and I will have the certificate, and we'll give away a coupon for a completely free pair of Keens of any type of Keen you want found on their website. I know some people have cashed those in for like $200 pairs of boots even. So we'll have one of those. Those will be one of our premier giveaways for being a Patreon supporter. So I can't promise when it's going to be, but you're going to see it. And it's going to be in the next 3 months because it expires on 12/31/17. All right. I think that's all we got. I want to thank Cass. Thanks for the haircut, the trim today.
Cass gave you that?
Yep. She's starting some school. Am I the dummy because I let her cut my hair before she goes to school for hair cutting? I think I did that backwards, but no. Seriously though, thank you for the help with the hair stuff. It was quite a debate that we had going on to get us here, so we'll make it work. But thank you very much. So for Disc Golf Nerd, thank you as well. We want to make sure that we thank you for giving your review earlier of an AVR 3. that he did in the regular show. So for Johnny V and myself, for Paul Ulibarri, who joined us in the after show, thank you so much. And for Dana and Matt from the regular show earlier in the night, thank you guys for joining us. We're looking forward to a great weekend in Kentucky, in Burlington, Kentucky, that is, at the Idlewild Open, presented by Innova Champion Disc. We'll see you guys then live. It'll be Thursday, Friday, Saturday, with live action coming from Kentucky. We'll see you next time when you step inside the Smashbox.